Portions of the following program may be unsuitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Remember, the enemy has only images and illusions, behind which he hides his true motives. Destroy the image, and you will break the enemy.
I'm here to tell you tonight that the businessmen, the mayor of this city, the police commissioner of this city, and everybody in the white power structure of this city must take a responsibility for everything.
Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
Luther and I, and everyone in this arena tonight, are unified by the same great American values. We're proud of our country. We respect our flag. Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
Race is when you use your power and influence to subject people into inferiority. Utterances can't be racist.
Look around you, man. They own this shit. They own this couch you sitting on, them shoes you got on your feet, this building, this school, this country, you. We're behind enemy lines, dog.
So you must first of all remember that this system was not originally designed with black people in mind. Right on, right on, right on. And it definitely was not prepared for black people to, in the end, begin to demand their rights and an equal share in this country which they died for. Right on, right on. Hey, and we definitely are not going back to Africa.
In the church, we used to sing the song, "Good News, the chariot is coming." While you sit here today, knowing that you have come to hear good news, you must realize in advance what good news for you might be bad news for somebody else. What good news for the sheep might be bad news to the wolf.
They say, oh, things are getting so much better for you. In 1849, it was hitting blacks on the head 100 times a day. In 1990, they hit them 48 times a day. Isn't it better? Oh, it's got to be better. You're saved 52 blows.
The only purpose of most black Americans on earth today is to destroy.
I think that's noble. Italians love Italians, when Irish love Irish, but when a nigga loves a nigga, it's an unpardonable sin. They have blood in their hands. When we say they have blood in their hands, we are not saying him, George Bezos, went and killed. But white people colonized us. They dispersed us. They enslaved our people. They sucked our economy dry. They are still sucking it dry even today. That's white people. Tony Blair, George Bush, Napoleon Bonaparte, Leopold, Adolf Hitler, Benjamin Netanyahu. All white people, they are the same. They are racist and they are full of hate.
I've been waiting for you. You have many questions, and though the process has altered your consciousness, you remain irrevocably human. Ergo, some of my answers you will understand, and some of them you will not. Concordantly, while your first question may be the most pertinent, you may or may not realize it is also the most irrelevant.
Why am I here?
Our world is coming crumbling down. The coons are coming.
You got to understand that white America has an uncanny way of making the victim the victimizer. Excuse me, master, for putting my head in the way of your club. Not that your club is brutalizing my head and putting hickeys on it. My head got in the way of your free swing and broke your shiny stick, and I want to apologize for that.
Your life is the sum of a remainder of an unbalanced equation inherent to the programming of the Matrix. You are the eventuality of an anomaly which, despite my sincerest efforts, I have been unable to eliminate from what is otherwise a harmony of mathematical precision. While it remains a burden assiduously avoided, it is not unexpected and thus not beyond a measure of control. which has led you inexorably here.
There are more connections in the human body than there are stars in the galaxy. We possess a gigantic network of information to which we have almost no access.
Matrix is older than you know. I prefer counting from the emergence of one integral anomaly to the emergence of the next, in which case this is the 6th version.
5 ones before me. 3. There are only 2 possible explanations. There were 5 ones before me. Either no one told me, or no one knows.
Precisely. As you are undoubtedly gathering, the anomaly is systemic, creating fluctuations in even the most simplistic equations.
Can't control me! I'm gonna smash you to biscuit! Yeah! You can't make me do anything like my trick!
Choice. The problem is choice.
Let us remember that we are not brutalized because we're Baptists. We're not brutalized because we're Methodists. We're not brutalized because we're Muslims. We're not brutalized because we're Catholics. We're brutalized because we are black people in America.
Because white people made him to be what he is. They made him to look evil, because that's their role, to make all of us black people to look evil and to hate ourselves. I can't hate you.
You're a nigga till you die. If you're a poor nigga, you're a poor nigga. If you're a rich nigga, you're a rich nigga. But you never stop being a nigga. And if you get to be educated, you're just an educated nigga.
I'm told every day I'm on air that I'm racist because I call out racism. That is maddening to me, and I'm crying about it because it's crazy.
So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is teaching you and I and trying to tell the white man to get this powder keg out of his house. Let the black man separate from his house. Let the black man have his own house. Let the black man have his own land and his own property.
I thought the bitch was white! Damn it! I thought the bitch was white!
That's true. I think that white people are so guilty, knowing what they've done to black people, that they feel if the deeds were reversed, they would hate the black man if he had done the same thing to them. So it's actually, it reflects a guilt complex on the part of whites when they ask us, do we hate them? And if you notice, Uncle Sam has formed a habit of going all over the world. He calls it the ugly American, or the American image. He thinks that everybody hates him because it's a guilt complex. And if you think that if you are worried about Europeans hating you, and they're your allies and your cousins, well, naturally it would follow for you to think that Negroes in this country would hate you, especially in light of what has been done to black people in this country by white people.
Now, check it out. The white ball dominates everything, right? Knocks the shit out the yellow ball, the red ball, right? And the game's over when the white ball drives the black ball completely off the table.
But you have to see that all of this is hypocrisy.
I love Malcolm. Malcolm called me the Sunday that he died. I was working Basin Street East. He said, "Brother Greg, you coming by today?" And I said, "Malcolm, I love you." And I said, "I love you so much, I don't even want to take a chance to be there." He said, "What do you mean, Brother Greg?" I said, "Well, I close tonight, Sunday night at Basin Street East." And I said, "But I had my wife book me a flight into Chicago at 8 o'clock this morning, and I'm going to Chicago, and I had way beneath my salary booked me into a college about 10 miles from the airport. And I'm going to go there and speak this afternoon, and I'm going to stay there until they tell me you dead. Because I'm not going to let this government get 2 of us for the price of 1. And I'm going to call Adam Clayton Powell when I finish talking to you and beg him not to come there. Because today, the United States government is going to get you."
Welcome to the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. And I am your host, the whiteologist, Mr. Blows Your Minds. Welcome to the live show. So hopefully there's some subscribers in the house. What's good, fam? Passerbyers, you know it's always a grand opening when you come over here. Go down the aisle, see something you might like, hit that like button, hit that dislike. You can go in that comment and say, I don't like what you're talking about. I think you're full of BS, right? It's all welcome over here. And agents, well, obviously you might be in the setback a little bit, but it's all good. Welcome to you as well. You know how it is. I got to get my spiel out before I get it going. So we got to put it like this. Say hello and welcome to the Black Minds News. I'm your host, the Whiteologist, Mr. Blows Your Mind. This show is to report, transmit, communicate, articulate, relay, decode, unveil, spread the news, whether it's by news, video, website, or quotes from publication. As I, your Whiteologist, articulate these information, I ask that the creator of the universe be here, heart, mind, soul, and spirit. Because you know why? The truth don't need no partner. And you know what my motto is? I'm never going to tell you what I heard. I'm only going to tell you what I know. That's right, y'all. Another day, another show. You know, after yesterday, tried to get a show off here. Those who might be avid watchers of the show, I had to do a freestyle. You know what I'm saying? You got to see me do a freestyle yesterday without any videos due to the simple fact that, again, YouTube had went down globally, trying to do, I guess, fix a lot of the bugs that happened, or just the fact that maybe this is the most hated show in the black corner, that maybe I'm always fighting to get in. You know what I'm saying? That's just what part of it is when you're doing a certain type of work as part of black media. You know, sometimes people don't want to hear certain things that you're talking about, right? I get it. I get it. So, you know, a lot of stuff is going on out here in the news, as always, right? So much happening. So sometimes, you know, you got to just kind of figure out how to pick and choose and glean what is appropriate for what is edifying, right, for your peoples, right? And those people who might be on the sideline listening, it's all good. You know what I'm saying? Don't take sometimes the simple fact that the truth is just being said. Don't necessarily have to be you, but again, sometimes when you're on a team and the team is losing, you are part of that as well, whether you contribute or not, right? Sometimes when you're on the winning team, sometimes you be a big participant, sometimes you just on the bench, but you get a ring just like everybody else, right? So sometimes don't take it just personal, but it is, again, is the truth. Don't need no partner, right? So again, let's go ahead and start the show off. I got this one here. I seen this not too long before I was getting on, so I decided, I said, well, let me go ahead and bring this bring the light, because again, I can kind of relate a little bit to this. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Blow Your Mind used to, you know, get it in. Matter of fact, you know, bust a lot of ass on that court. You understand? So I kind of feel like this. So let me go ahead and show what this is, and let me come back and let's see if we go. Let's see. Do I have to do it the other way? Maybe I have to do it the other way. Let's see. Maybe
now
not.
to the growing outrage over the suspension of a top girls high school basketball player. USA Basketball mistakenly sending her an $857 stipend for representing the country in an international tournament over the summer. TJ Holmes has a story, and TJ, many are outraged about this, including some professional basketball players.
Because a lot of adults messed up here, and the only person paying for it is an 18-year-old kid. And what's it costing her? Probably the most important year of her life so far in playing the game she loves. And that's where the outrage comes, because this was an administrative error that has been corrected and was not her fault.
The superstar center, Maori Davenport, basically can write her own college check.
She is one of the best high school basketball players in the country. 6'4" forward Maori Davenport, a dominant post player who committed to Rutgers as a junior and helped the USA under-18 team win a gold medal this summer at the World Championships. But this morning, there's outrage after she was banned from playing the game she loves, suspended for her senior year at Alabama's Charles Henderson High School. Why? She was mistakenly sent a check for $857.20.
My parents called the coach to make sure that it was okay. He said yes. He said that everybody was going to get the check.
They said that she received the check and cashed the check, and she wasn't supposed to. And so therefore she had broken the amateur rule.
USA Basketball routinely gives stipends to players for expenses, but failed to check with the High School Athletic Association in Davenport's home state of Alabama to make sure the payment is allowed. USA Basketball admits this was their error, and Davenport returned the money in full. But the Alabama State Athletic Association is standing by the suspension and tells ABC News its rules state, in part, a student cannot accept payment for loss of time or wages while participating in athletics as part of expenses. NBA giants are coming to her defense. Chris Paul tweeted, "How is this even fair? She shouldn't pay for someone else's mistake. This is crazy." DeMarcus Cousins, also from Alabama, tweeted, "This is wrong on so many levels that I don't know where to start. Fix this now."
Maori Davenport's been punished enough, and making her eligible now after a couple of months of their season would hurt no one.
They are, despite the outrage, the Athletic Association in Alabama is sticking by it. They said this would open a Pandora's box if you make an exception, no matter who made the mistake. A rule was violated, so they are sticking with their guns.
It's their rule. It's not even an NCAA violation. We're just saying something. But yeah, she has committed to Rutgers.
Yeah.
Great. But she's still losing out on so much, TJ.
Yes, because the type of accolades she could get. I mean, this is her senior year. Think about all of us. Even if you didn't play sports, you look forward to your senior year. They won their first state championship. She led them last year. She won't get a chance to defend that. She won't get a chance at McDonald's High School All-American honors. She is losing all of that because of an error. This is adults failing a child. This should not be the case.
And the money was paid back as soon as they realized the mistake was made. And they asked. Wasn't if they did something without asking.
They returned it, the mistake was caught, and you think that should be it.
As soon as USA Basketball knew that, we messed up, contacted everybody, had it sent back. But even with all that, I got to tell you guys, Jay Billis of ESPN wrote an op-ed. It's on ESPNW. Please go online and read it. He even talked to the director of the Alabama High School Athletic Association. Called him on the phone. So read his op-ed. You'll have more insight. Yeah.
Maybe another update I'll have for you. A good one.
I surely hope so. She deserves it. She is a true student athlete.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.
All right, so you know what I do over here is I go and I get the article, right? So, again, I went and found the article. It was done yesterday, which would have been January the 9th, 2019, and this is what it reads. It's from, don't say what the name of this, Washington Post, okay. It says, Alabama basketball star stuck on sideline. A top high school has been ruled ineligible after receiving a stipend check from the United States basketball. Maori Davenport still spends lots of time in the gym when she's not in class at Charles Henderson High School in Troy, Alabama, or answering questions of probing adults at the grocery store. The U18 Team USA gold medalist is on the court trying to stay motivated, optimistic for a resolution that may never come. Since last November, Davenport, a high school basketball star, has been sidelined for her senior season because of a disputed eligibility ruling stemming from a mistaken payment by the United States basketball. The Rutgers recruit has said she remains hopeful she can play with her high school teammates one last time. But despite national outrage from influential figures throughout the sports, the Alabama High School Athletic Association, the organization responsible for ruling on Davenport's eligibility, is holding firm that she won't. The AHSAA doubled down on this decision Monday, reiterating that based on AHSAA bylaws and rules, there could be no further action taken by the state association. All right, so again, we have a, little sister that was out here who trying to, again, using some of her God-given gift. As any athlete, again, they say amateur, right? Pretty much you're amateur even when you're in college, right? And for some odd reason, hear this, that really when you think about sports, there's some sports that you probably need to go to school in order to actually hone your skills, again, right? But then there's certain sports that you can do outside of that, education ain't really part of that. But it's just the, avenue that you have to go through, right? And so what ended up happening is you have people who excel and then, they get accolades and they get a lot of honors and so forth. And then they get into certain positions where, you know, again, those who understand the game knew that you ain't supposed to be giving stipends, which is just basically you giving some money. Now, again, when you have a skill, and basically it's like being here on YouTube. You know, certain people have certain abilities and skills. What they do is they make a platform and they try to perform the best, and hopefully that people like what they do, and then in turns can also become lucrative depending on the success that you have. So in the sense of basketball, let's look at that in this country. In this country, you have a farm system that pretty much goes from grade school through high school to college. Now, when you look at that, every 4 years, it changed. Well, from high school, then college, but in grade school, it go to 8th year, right? And then 4 years, 4 years. You know what I'm saying, right? And so, look at the number of people that participate in that one particular sport. To be just like if they say going to college, right? Just imagine every year how many graduates are coming out of college that is going to be in the same profession that you yourself got a degree in. So now you're fighting against them versus the ones that be for them, the ones that, you understand? The numbers is outstanding. So there's plenty of workers, but there's only so many jobs. So you mean to tell me if you honing your skills and there's a way that you can make a little bit of money, just because you classify me as an amateur, I can't get no money unless you get paid first. See, they're not going to say that part, right? Because again, you know, Chris Paul and, you know, they still in the league, right? Again, what you see is when mothers get down in the later parts of the year, then all of a sudden they're going to be a little bit political. But in this sense here's a high schooler. Again, the people who actually made this deal should have known better. And we understand about rules and regulation, but again, we also know that, again, in this country, there's two sides to it. There's black law and there's white law, right? And there's times where, you know, there could have been some meeting of the minds to make again, she'd be the bearer of something that, again, maybe she was like a days ago and didn't know herself, right? But again, when you got somebody on your side pulling your coat, or somebody whispering in your ear telling you the game, somebody should have been like, don't be taking no money from motherfuckers, because you know what I'm saying? Again, matter of fact, he got game, right? A lot of us have seen he got game, right? Again, I'm pretty sure you might have seen he got game, right? You've seen how that whole aspect worked, right? What was the one that, whatchamacallit did back in the day? I forgot what Ray Allen did, right? It was a movie that Ray Allen had did too, right? Where he took the money and ended up getting killed in that movie, right? Throwing games and so forth. And then we just know about what Chris Webber and that whole thing. But the thing is, here was somebody who was innocent, took the money again, because a lot of times these farm systems are getting people who are coming from poverty. Let's keep that 100. Most of the players that you're getting in this farm system are coming from areas that don't have money. So you mean to tell me if you in the desert and you thirsty and driving a damn lemonade truck come by, you understand, you ain't going, you know what I'm saying? If they offering you a drink, you ain't going to take it, right? Because again, your situation, again, there's one thing as an athlete, and then there's another thing, the reality of when you go home. And so, again, yes, there's some, again, we understand rules and regulation, but again, in this situation, there was no harm, no foul. Again, her naivete, right? Again, but you're going to make her learn a lesson in a way that is not really beneficial, you know, to anybody, other than the simple fact that you're trying to stand on something when, again, the people that the USA basketball, who definitely should know the understands of that. But again, look at the money that was being made for them playing in that Olympics. Look at all the people who made money off that, and what's wrong with an amateur getting some kickback? So that's the problem with the greediness that a lot of people got. You always want to, you know, fill your coffers, keep your pockets fat, and using the talent. And then you say, well, I'm giving you a scholarship. Let's keep this shit 100. If you go to college, right, on a scholarship, ask yourself, all right, let's say you in a classroom, and the classroom got 100 seats, 150 seats. But you only got about 40 students in there, right? So let's say there's 100 seats in there. There's 60 seats sitting in there, regardless of anybody in that. So it wouldn't matter if you came up off the street. If you could get up in that class and just sit up in there, you getting the education. So that's like a scholarship. A scholarship is the same damn way. It wouldn't matter when you getting the scholarship. They're going to just be able to go to sit in the class The professor is already getting paid his yearly salary, so it wouldn't matter whether he got 100, one person, 5 people. He still got to do his job because he's been paid. So a scholarship is nothing, really, when you think about it. And then look at how the money you're making off the players from shoe deals. Coaches getting millions of dollars. Players are getting all this, and then the jerseys and all at the school. Matter of fact, the athletic program is based on why your curriculum, well, I ain't gonna say the curriculum, but the student body is based on your athletic program. So, but the people who ain't getting no money seems to be the ones who doing the most work. Again, it's always about race. It's always with that aspect to when they're talking about some, again, master and the slave. What's good for the master ain't never good for the slave. So that rule has to change. Matter of fact, wasn't it that long ago when Northwestern football players got together and actually went against that about why they should get paid? But that got squashed, right? Because then now you taking away the money they getting. See? But see, if it's a players' league, it's not. See, people want to make it seem it was about the owners and about the. No, without the players, you ain't got shit. You ain't got shit there. But again, hopefully, you know, this blows over, she stays in, you know what I'm saying, be able to retire in how she needs to do, and then eventually as time goes on, you know what I'm saying, make them, you know what I'm saying. But again, you playing in their league, and to see the whole thing about this monopoly about one league, think about that as I was saying. Look at the farm system of how many people could hoop or play. But again, you only got so many with one league that says on 250 jobs, and there's 250 jobs, and there's like millions, and then you starting to now you starting to put in other nations. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like this whole thing in the United States about this border and allowing people to come all up in here, and then you have people who are already here who haven't benefited from what their ancestors have put in. But everybody else can come from somewhere else and get on the border and act like we equivalent. No, man. No. See, you're always undermining that which give you the most, but then when it's something that's beneficial to you, then you'll squeeze it until you get all of it, but you're going to make the most of it. But they'll dangle him in front of you and say, look, he's rich. He's a billionaire. One out of how many? Jordan is one out of how many? Oprah is one out of how many? All right, then. Moving on, right? They don't even need to go there no more. It is what it is, right? Let me look and see who all out here. See if I got some fam in the house. I got in here. I got Leonard DeYuta. What's up, Mr. Blow? What's good to you, Leonard DeYuta? Bernard Thomas, what's good? Yo. And anybody else in the house? Hopefully everything is good and copacetic. You know, I got to get this show because I got another show to do tonight, right? So I got to get them in, right? Appreciate y'all being here. Hit that like button, dislike button. Again, hit that comment, or whatever it is. Give me something. Let me hold something, right? You know, try to get up out the muck and mire. So anyway, I got another one for you. So, what about this one here? This one here, I seen this story, right? And I was like, man, okay, this is systemic, right? That's all I'm going to say. First, I'm going to let you see it, and then I'll come back, and then I'll talk about it. Let me get it up. Make sure everything good. Okay, then let's get it going.
Get me out of here!
This passenger in the stylish plaid skirt is having an epic meltdown at the airport.
Damn it, who does that to a woman like me?
She's so hopping mad, she lifts her feet off the floor and leans over the counter, screaming at a JetBlue employee.
You rapist!
The shocking scene happened at the airport in Fort Lauderdale. 26-year-old Sabrina Thomas was not allowed on her plane because she showed indications of intoxication. That's when she flipped out.
Get me out of here! I'm gun on me because I'm homeless! Get me out!
Dre London, a top music executive who represents big stars like singer Post Malone, recorded the crazy scene as he waited for his flight.
Everyone was in shock. Everyone said, wow, they never seen nothing like this before in their life.
Right after her tirade, the passenger grabbed her ticket and bag, then walked away like nothing happened. Authorities put her in handcuffs and escorted her out of the terminal. She was hospitalized for observation. The meltdown comes as airports across the USA are dealing with the government shutdown. Here's Jim Murray.
The TSA confirms there has been an uptick in employees not reporting for work, but says the wait times at airport security checkpoints remains well within federal standards.
All right. So again, let me get this article first before we get forward into that. So it says, woman in Florida arrested for threatening, insulting airline staff after being denied boarding. You know I'm going to say that again. Woman in Florida arrested for threatening, insulting airline staff after being denied boarding. This was done in the Inquirer of the Asia News Network. And this is how it reads. Florida, a woman at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport in Florida was restrained and led away by authorities after she threatened and insulted the staff of JetBlue Airways. The woman, identified by reports as Sabrina Thomas of St. Marcos, California, was denied boarding for indication of intoxication. Yahoo Lifestyle reported the incident happened last January 6th and was captured and shared by artist manager Dre London via Instagram. In the video, Thomas can be seen hoisting herself up on the counter and screaming at JetBlue Airways worker who was speaking to somebody on the phone. At one point, she called the worker a rapist and threatened the gun violence by saying she had a gun on her. "Get me out this fucked up place, you rapist," Thomas screamed. "Get me out of here. Get me out of here. I have a fucking gun and on me because I'm homeless. Get me out." A sheriff deputy responded to the F concourse after being told of a passenger causing a disturbance. As per in an incident report via the dailymail.com on January 8th, according to the deputy, Thomas threw her duffel bag at a wall and her passport on the floor when he encountered her. She then threw at me a boarding pass that she ripped into several pieces. The deputy was quoted as saying Thomas also yelled at the cops saying, "I'm racist against white people. I fucking hate white cops." She displayed erratic mood swings, which went from crying to silent and still very loud and aggressive without warning, another sheriff said in the report. Thomas was escorted off the Fort Lauderdale Airport and brought to the Broward General Hospital as an involuntary Baker Act patient for her display of bizarre behavior and irrational statements. All right. So we see that this lady here, again, it was a discretionary call, right? And, the term they called it was what? It was, what they called that? The intoxication. What they said it was? Indication of intoxication. So that's a discretionary under the individual who is, there present, right? That you're encountering with. And as we've seen, that was a brother, right? It was a brother. He was a black man. I'm not sure whether he DOS, but he was a black man of the black family, right? And according to what she said, she's supposed to be black, right? Because she says she hate white people, or she is of some other of the rainbow, maybe not black, but maybe something else, right? And so her tirade, again, we know about people having, short attention spans and short tempers, and they get in situations where, again, impatience and they, not having it their way, right? Oh, you can have it your way, right? Some T.I., you can have whatever you like, right? And so it don't fall in the way that you want. And so what ended up happening is, you go into this whole tirade. Maybe you used to, maybe the way you look, maybe, certain things happen for you just because, again, you give a little nod, wink, and, a little shoulder, some, breast, whatever. It ain't, homie wasn't buying it, right? And, we don't know whether that happened at first, whether indication of intoxication was after the fact of what you did, because again, that's how you get back at you and then use everything that you said and use it to be held against you. But again, the one thing that I have to look at, that I have to really focus on. Now, if she's a black woman, right? She said a rapist. Right? Think about that. That's some real, you know what I'm saying? That's like the old tale when they talk about the wolf is coming, the wolf is coming, the wolf is coming, right? The boy who cried wolf, right? That's the woman who crying wolf. And let's just say if the individual, what was his name? The one that was actually, again, let me see what his name was. His name was, what was the brother's name? Dre London. If Dre London didn't happen to be there and capture that video, I'm not saying that the airport don't have it, but maybe not to get the directness as to what is being said and the, what actually was said right then and there again, because maybe they didn't maybe be able to see it, but maybe you didn't get the sound, right? But he was able to get all that. So let's just say that's not there. She does that whole thing until the police come, and she make this whole scene and say, man, this dude raped me or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It could have changed that, and then he would have had to go through that whole process to vindicate himself. Now, that's in itself, to me, is a charge that in itself is felony. It's a felonious charge. So the sense that you even crying wolf like that. So you lucky they taking you in to get evaluated, and hopefully that they give you that, because again, that's serious business. Especially in the climate that we in, the next video that I'm about to show, because see, I didn't want to touch that. But based on me doing this particular video, I have to go there, because what is it now that is going on in this country that everything is going to be focused on black men being labeled rapists, sex predators, right? When we know that, okay, promiscuity might be part of that, but when it comes to that predatorialness, oh no. And I'll be able to substantiate that later in the show, right? And so as that develop, we'll see how that's going to come again. I do follow us when I see that, and then they'll come back later again. But again, the seriousness of that you didn't get what you want, you go to a tirade, and that you would even go to the extent to be talking about some rapists. That's nothing to play with, especially not with no black man. You trying to destroy that man because you couldn't get what you want? You gonna say rapists on this man's job? That could have turned a whole nother motherfucking kind of way. So again, maybe later on we get to see exactly what you is, and we be able to really discern who you is, because you claiming, or at least the cops are saying again, they add shit on to it. They say, well, fuck it, throw some more shit on her ass, right? Or she said with us, she said she hate white people, right? So they tagging on. So now you got some hate crime going on there. You talking about you had gun in the airport, and you call rape. Oh, they finna stick it to you, right? Huh? They gonna stick it to your ass, and they only deserve it so. Because again, you don't pull that kind of nonsense. You know what I'm saying? It seems like some people thinking that they got this free card to do this shit, or maybe to the simple fact that this is happening. I didn't really want to go on this, y'all, because I don't. Everybody been dragging this and dragging it. Not that the fact that I don't touch it, because again, I consider myself part of the black media, of the black corner of the black internet, right? But everybody was eating off of it. And again, I go everywhere. I don't have no specific, and wherever the story is, I'll go there, no matter what it is, right? So anyway, I'm pretty sure you know where I'm going to go with this, right? And so let me go ahead and pop it off, and then I will come back afterwards.
Legal trouble for singer R. Kelly. It contains new allegations of sexual, mental, and physical abuse. Prosecutors in Illinois and Georgia are now reportedly looking into these allegations. But Kelly does not seem troubled by any of this. Cell phone video shows him celebrating his 52nd birthday in a Chicago nightclub last night.
Baby, I don't want to hurt nobody, but there is something that I must confess. Somebody make some money.
All right, let's discuss all of the latest with the host of Teray Show podcast, Teray, and CNN legal analyst Ariva Martin. Great to have both of you. Teray, this comes, I bet, as no surprise to you. You have been following R. Kelly's story for many years. So just to refresh our viewers' memories who have not been following along, let me just pull up a timeline of R. Kelly, and then you can fill in the blanks. He married 15-year-old Aaliyah when he was 27. That was in 1994. The Chicago Sun-Times investigation revealed police investigated him twice for allegations of sex with minors. In 2002, there was an alleged sex tape that emerged, claiming to show Kelly sleeping with a minor. He denied it. In 2002, he was charged with 21 counts of child pornography. In 2008, acquitted on all charges. In 2017, a woman alleges that she was sleeping with Kelly when she was 16. What have we missed?
Well, the only thing I would miss is my interview, and not to make it about me, but I was a critical part of that second part you talk about. He comes off the trial. I'm working for BET. He comes and gives me an interview. It's a big part of the docuseries. The core moment that everybody remembers, I asked him, do you like teenage girls? He could not say no.
We have that. We have that moment. Let's play that, and then you can tell us about it.
Do you like teenage girls? When you say teenage, how are we talking? Girls who are teenagers. 19? 19 and younger.
I have some 19-year-old friends, but I don't like anybody illegal if that's what we're talking about, underage.
Okay, so tell us about the reaction to all that.
I mean, it's a softball question. You just got off trial for that. Do you like teenage girls? This is the simple, just say no, and then we'll move on to the harder questions. So just the face and the body language gave up the answer that he didn't want to give, right? Like, you can't lie with your entire body, and that's what he tried to do. I mean, you know, he's been conducting this behavior right under our noses. I mean, his album with Aaliyah was called Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. Right? So he's just putting it in our faces over and over and over, being really arrogant about it. I'm not surprised to see him, like, you know, out at a club, like dancing at this moment, like when this, I mean, this docuseries is gigantic. It feels like everybody in America watched this. This is a big problem.
So fast forward, Ariva, to now with this docuseries. So let me just play a little clip so that everybody understands what women are now saying.
Girls, freshman, sophomore.
I wasn't free to walk around. If I wanted to use the restroom, I'd have to ask him. If I was hungry, I'd have to ask him. He came up once and grabbed me by my arm in the room and dragged me down the hallway because I talked back to him.
Ariva, that's just one of the women featured. So, to Teray's point, why now? I mean, after all of this has been out in the ether, why now are prosecutors looking into him?
Well, I think the pressure was mounting, Allison. When you look at those women that came forward, they had the courage to come forward in that documentary. There was no way that prosecutors could sit on the sidelines and not take any action. Some of those allegations are startling and suggest that criminal activity is involved and was deserving of an investigation. I think the whole Me Too era has given more courage to women. I think African-American women for a long time have believed that their stories would not be believed, that they would be somehow shamed, they would be humiliated, that they would be made out to be the bad, person in the story. And now they're finding their voices. They're finding that their stories do matter. They do have the courage, as we saw with the many women that spoke in the documentary, to tell their stories. And I am so glad to see that two district attorneys in the country, and hopefully others that may have the jurisdiction to investigate these allegations that have been swirling around R. Kelly for decades, will come forward and open investigations so that justice can be served for the victims that have suffered as a result of his blatantly unacceptable conduct.
Teray, I mean, obviously it's akin to Harvey Weinstein, it's akin to Bill Cosby. When one woman speaks, the dam breaks. But it's also interesting that these women spoke to a filmmaker and didn't necessarily go to authorities.
I mean, this is a really powerful moment in that these stories have played out over years, right? With the Aaliyah story in the 90s, the tape story with my interview in the Double O's, and the stories of him having this sex cult that played out in a lot of magazines. But they had not been together, right? And they were so separated that I think people saw them as different. And what Dream Hampton, the filmmaker, has done here is put them all together, right? And do an amazing job of pulling people from throughout R. Kelly's life to tell this story. This has been a long period of crazy behavior. I mean, you know, at some point.
And flagrant. I mean, to your point, just brazen and flagrant.
Yes, absolutely.
Ariva, do prosecutors now use this documentary? Can they use this documentary as their evidence for women who hadn't previously come forward?
Oh, absolutely. They can use the statements that were made in the documentary, and they can use it to encourage witnesses to come forward. What we know about the acquittal of R. Kelly in the 2000 was that the victim did not take the witness stand and testify. And that gave pause to the jurors. They weren't able to find that he was guilty beyond reasonable doubt. And we know that's a very high standard. But hopefully, the women that have come forward that have talked about it, the people that have been a part of this documentary, will give courage to other victims to come forward. Prosecutors need hard evidence. They need the victims telling their stories. They need percipient witnesses, people that were there that witnessed the criminal activity to come forward. That's how prosecutors can build credible cases and can get convictions if indeed the allegations made in the documentary are true. And at this point, we have no reason to believe they're not true. You know, and you talked about Harvey Weinstein, Allison. One of the things that still puzzles me is how come R. Kelly's music is continued to be played? You know, what is the role of Sony and RCA and the companies that are, you know, in bed with him and have these contractual arrangements with him? Even if you can't get a conviction in the courtroom, we have seen powerful men lose their jobs. We've seen contracts terminated as a result of these kinds of allegations. So the question still remains, what about the companies that are supporting R. Kelly's music? What are they going to do in light of this documentary?
Understood. And on that note, Lady Gaga tweeted this statement today: I stand behind these women 1,000%. I'm sorry, both for my poor judgment when I was young and for not speaking out sooner because she had done a duet with him. Teray, Riva Martin, thank you both very much.
All right. So again, the infamous story that is going, that has pretty much took over the internet for the last few days. I had refused to do it because, again, everybody was like, again, an alley-oop. Everybody was going to dunk it. So based on something like that, what I just talked about prior, before the video prior to, again, is the woman that was there screaming rapist. Again, and the man that was actually having the interaction with her was a black man. And so, again, we had to say, is this kind of deja vu again? Now, again, no one is going to condone acts when you're talking about somebody abusing somebody underage and having sex. Again, we say Chester the molester. You remember all those terms we used to call back in the day. And so when somebody is doing that kind of thing, again, it's a stigmatization again. You know what I'm saying? Pumpkinhead Deluxe, you know, all that good stuff, right? So the one thing is, it may seem like it's more about public opinion, because, again, what everybody needs to look at, the simple fact is, okay, you made the documentary, the docu-series, but of these women and girls that supposedly this took place, shouldn't they had already filed to have criminal charges and then go ahead and do this docu-series as, again, but you're going to use the docu-series because it sounds like the same thing of the Bill Cosby situation, right? You're going to get the public opinion, get the women who said what done took place, and then now we're going to go in that investigation and do it. Then, again, based on what happened to Bill Cosby, it's like you can have hearsay to convict. Hearsay. No evidence. I know, you know, is there a statute of limitations and rate? According when we do the end of the show, there is a such thing, right? We'll wait till we get there. So, again, I don't condone the fact of what had done took place. Again, we don't know. We weren't there. We hear people saying things. But again, I'm like, okay, did you go to the authorities? Because it seems like people saying they got these situations. And again, of course, we understand when somebody's in that kind of stature, right, that it's hard. It's like you saying that you know what I'm saying, let's just say, as a man, you know, Oprah seen, you know, that old, put it this way, you know that old Pepsi commercial? Shorty's in there, was in the desert, and then pulled up, Beyonce came, and he was like, took his can of Coke and drank it. You know what I'm saying? Let's say she'd have been, all right, for that, you know, go around the back, let me break you off a little bit. All right, that happened. Then he trying to tell everybody. Nobody going to believe us. Say, nigga, she ain't going to mess with you, nobody like that. So I guess that's what a lot of people say. Nobody's going to believe you, right? Because they say, nobody like in that status would be messing with somebody like you, right? So it's unbelievable, right? Okay, I can get that aspect to it. But then you have to at least make the statement that you tried. So again, ain't the onus on the authorities if people try to, you know, get a case and then you deny it. So ain't there some culpability on that aspect, other than the simple fact that we just sitting back and then we're gonna make a documentary and then now we're gonna say, let's come after the cat. You should have went and did that legal stuff. And that's why you're hearing, like, you know, you're hearing cases in Chicago with Kim, I forgot the state's attorney there. She's saying, well, okay, let these women come forward and present a case. Because right now, just like it's popular opinion on a docuseries. Again, I'm not condoning. Yes, we know about Aaliyah and all that other stuff, right? But again, this ain't new news. This ain't new news. There's a lot of shit going on. And then to see the one thing is why so many black people seem to be taking the lead to do all this whooping and talking. But when this Harvey Weinstein and all this shit and Kevin Spacey and all that, they mums the motherfucking word. But now you get a chance to shit on your own. Oh, you stepping in brazen in front. Oh, get out the way, massa. I got this. I got this, massa. Right? I get ain't no condoning here. I'm just saying. We falling for the okie doke. Because again, this is the diversion tactic. And I'm going to show you it's a diversion tactic. Now again, I'm not saying whether this man is guilty or not. I wasn't there. All I know is he done had some cases. Somehow he didn't get convicted. Again, they said in this country, innocent till proven guilty. Unless you're black, you're guilty until you can prove you innocent. Do I need to say that again? I guess you innocent until you're proven guilty, but when you're black, you're guilty until you can prove you innocent. Right? So I'm seeing a lot of people going all out their way. Oh man, Chicago, y'all ain't woo, this and that. Well, let me tell you something. Chicago ain't got nothing to do with it because again, you're trying to act like if it's the girls that he did get, how you know he didn't get them? He didn't get them from the Chi. He could have got them, again, man, go all over the damn country. So a lot of people trying to say, oh, Chi shit because woo, this and that. Man, stop that bullshit. Understand? Stop all that bullshit. So anyway, that's going fruition for what it's going to be anyway. If all that is what it is, otherwise it's just another one of these situations of deja vu, what we done seen before, of taking somebody and then posterizing and putting our face there when it's really somebody else's face should be there, and you falling for the shit, then you fall culpability. When all this shit start coming down on black men, remember the position your ass took. Now again, guilty is guilty, right is right. Moving on. So again, I seen this story here, right? All right, I seen this story here. So since so many people are out here and they woe is and talking to this, and now black people in the community is up in arms because again, yes, we have this running rampant again. Of course, this is running rampant because again, what's happening with the recidivism of people going in and out of jail? Doing longer bids than anybody else doing for small shit. They should have got small times getting made. So you in there a long time, you getting institutionalized, and then the institutionalized of the air, the environment, it breathes, and then when motherfuckers coming home, they're doing the same shit. So now you done got enough motherfucker to see to be the same way. So again, this shit is just becoming the perpetual transition to this whole shit is permeating all of it. So yes, we know. We all been knowing that shit. There ain't nothing new. So they came out with this here. So for all those, again, so you can stop this kind of shit from happening to your little bitty kids, your little girls. Shit, matter of fact, in these days, your little son. Well, they came up with this. I seen this the other day. Check this out. We'll be right back.
The older kids here. I try texting my kids.
Yeah.
Nothing.
No response?
Crickets? Nothing. Crickets.
They ghost
absolutely.
You. Are
now,
you
when they want
a question?
a question, when are you going to be home for dinner? Stuff like that. Like with Courtney and Leela. When they want to get me, they're on the phone constant. Boom, boom. Why didn't you answer me? Why didn't you answer me? Well, I think this next thing is genius. One dad in England named Nick Herbert got so frustrated with his 13-year-old son, Ben, not texting me. He developed an app that lets him hijack his son's phone. Wow. It's got to be on both phones, but the app is called Reply ASAP. I love this. When you send a message to your kid, if he or she doesn't reply, you have the option to not only lock their screen, but it sounds an alarm.
That's genius.
Wow.
That's actually pretty genius.
I love this man.
This is like the parents' revenge app.
Yeah, he originally made it for Android, and it got a little pickup, but now he is working on a version for iPhones.
My kids aren't old enough yet to use something like that, but when they are of age, sign me up. I've got a buddy, I won't name him on national television.
Oh, come on.
He has teenagers, and he prides himself on digitally spying on his children. He knows where they are at all times. He can see the messages that are coming in, the messages that they're sending out. And he says that it's his way of helping to keep his teenagers safe. I know there's some debate over whether or not that's ethical, but this sounds like it'd be right up your alley.
Oh, I'm telling you, because I mean, they are on me like white on rice when they want something.
They want you.
When they want something. When I want to get them, like you said, it's like a ghost in the wind.
But Brian's mom will call him or text him, and he won't respond. He'll actively sit on his phone and not respond.
Oh.
So I think she could actually
not anymore.
Install
you
it
just outed your husband with his
well,
mom.
She knows. He'll say
Nice.
no, I'm not answering.
Okay.
I mean, so I think she might actually put the app on his or ask me to do it so that she can do that to him.
All right. So all we see is there's an app that now you can have control of your, child's phone, right? Where if they don't respond, you're able to go in there and be able to sift through there to find out what kind of fuck shit they on, right? You know what I'm saying? So you could use this as a way to actually override. And so again, we slick like that. So, you got your phone, you got your burner, right? Mama gonna have a burner phone, so kid gonna be the same way, like this one phone, but I got another one. So again, we say between the ages of when they're in high school, let's say from 14 to, maybe 16, 17, you the one paying for the phone bill. So I guess if you the one paying for the phone, you buying the phone, and then I guess, with this kind of information before they understand you up on it. So you get it, and then again, when you give them the phone, they don't even know you already got the access to know how to do it. And so you got some control, right? So when a motherfucker predator doing some shit, you up on the game a little bit if that's what you need. Somebody came with an idea with that, you understand? So, sometimes you're going to have to be a step of the game. It ain't like it was back in the day where the community back in there. Can I get back? See if I got back in there. Let's see if I got back. Did I get back? I think I'm back. Let's see. Hold on. All right, I think I'm back. I'm the hardest working show in the black corner of the internet, right? Somebody let me know if I'm back. Let me know if I'm back. Give me a 1. Let me know if I'm back. right, I'm good? Okay, good, Bernard. Hey, look out for me. All right, so I'm not sure what part y'all heard on that, because, again, you know how the agent's going to do. When I start getting into it, you know they're going to cut it. You got to cut it, huh? They got to cut it. So, all right, we're going to move to the next part, man. Tell you, boy. Hey, those in the house, this is the most hated show in the Black Corner internet. Let me hold something. They're trying to keep me secluded over here. You need to help me to get up out this corner, because the case that I want to build on them, I'm going to be able to show it. So you need to help me. Hit that like button. Give me hold something, dislike, whatever it is. Moving on. Now, so let's put it like this. You know, we looked at that situation, right? Now, again, I'm not sure what part of the app after that y'all got to hear that, right? But, you know, there's a price to pay, right? So I seen this again. Those who seen yesterday's, you got to get the version without the video. That's why the title didn't change, but I'm going to actually change the title after I get done. I'm going to change the title. So, let's see. Well, how about this? Again, you know, everybody should love the skin that you in, right? And then sometimes, you know, depending where you grow up at and who you fraternize with, kick it with, right? Sometimes other people, grass look greener. You say, man, you know what I'm saying, they have more fun. You know what I'm saying? I like how you do what they do. They party, whatever. So they try to, you know, switch the other side, right? They say it's good. Matter of fact, I'm going to change my whole life to ride with them. Well, you know, they call them wiggers, right? They call them wiggers, right? So in this sense here, everybody kind of know who this is, right? They know who it is, but again, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes some people, they get mad when you trade from their squad, right? So, you know, you got to pay the little price a little bit. So let me go ahead and show who I'm talking about. We be right back. Check this out.
DeLazao, the white woman who claimed she was black, now has a date set for her welfare fraud trial. Last summer, USA Today reported that Rachel DeLazao, the white woman and former Washington State NAACP president infamous for pretending to be black and also charged with committing welfare fraud, reported to jail Monday for a procedural booking photo and fingerprints, according to TV station KREM. DeLazao, who changed her name to Nkechi Diallo in 2016, could face up to 15 years in prison for illegally receiving thousands of dollars in public assistance. She is charged with first-degree theft by welfare fraud, making false verification and second-degree perjury. She pleaded not guilty. On judge's orders, she reported to the Spokane County Jail for booking and was then released. From Breitbart, a Washington state judge set a trial date for the welfare fraud case of Rachel DeLazao, a white woman who made her claim to fame by posing as a black woman for decades. Judge Michelle Zamblin told DeLazao's attorney Friday morning that the trial date would be scheduled for March 4 after multiple rescheduling attempts since DeLazao's arrest in May 2018. KHQ reported. Authorities arrested and charged DeLazao with first-degree welfare fraud, second-degree perjury, and making false claims about receiving public assistance in front of a judge. DeLazao, who switched her name to Nkechi Diallo in 2016, is accused of collecting nearly $9,000 in welfare money from the state between August 2015 and November 2017. Investigators said DeLazao falsified income reports for several years to qualify for government assistance and claimed she only received a few $100s per month from friends. But when state investigators looked into her finances, they found she deposited more than $80,000 while she had been receiving public assistance. The state investigator learned that DeLazao, who had published a book called In Full Color, received income from book sales, speaking gigs, and sales of her arts and crafts. DeLazao became infamous in 2015 after her parents debunked her decades-long claim that she was a black woman. During that period, DeLazao used her assumed race to become president of the NAACP chapter in Spokane, Washington, and a professor of African Studies at Eastern Washington University.
Rachel Dolezal, who was infamously outed as a white woman after pretending to be black, has been charged with welfare fraud. Dolezal legally changed her name to Nkechi Diallo in 2016 and has been charged with welfare fraud, perjury, and false verification for public assistance, according to KHQ-TV. An investigation began in March 2017 when a Washington state investigator found out Diallo had written a book, and a review of her records showed she was reporting that she usually made less than $500 a month, according to documents. But a subpoena of her self-employment records revealed that she had deposited close to $84,000 into her bank account between August 2015 and September 2017, none of which was reported to the Department of Social Health Services. During the span of August 2015 to November 2017, she illegally received $8,747 in food assistance and $100 in child care assistance. Diallo says she fully disclosed her information and did report a change of circumstance to the state agency.
We have an ABC News exclusive in the story of Rachel Dolezal, the NAACP leader now accused of lying about being black, her own parents coming out and saying their daughter is in fact white.
And now her two adopted brothers are speaking out, offering their take on the sister and the secret that she asked them to keep. ABC's Candace Gibson is in Spokane, Washington for us this morning. Hi, Candace.
Hi, Paula. Hi, Dan. And I got to tell you, the more we talk with people in this small town of about 200,000, the more we get a sense that people feel duped by the head of the local NAACP. In the meantime, the person at the center of this controversy, the root of it all, isn't speaking out. This morning, the adopted brothers of Spokane NAACP leader Rachel Dolezal speaking out for the first time about the controversy surrounding her racial identity.
She took me aside and told me to make sure that no one found out where she was actually from and that she was going to change her identity and for me not to blow her cover.
The most talked about
NAACP an uproar. Dolezal making national headlines after this interview went viral.
Are your parents, are they white?
The civil rights activist and Africana Studies professor accused of lying about her race, marking black on a City of Spokane volunteer job application.
She had the best intentions and she did some good, but she did not go about it in the right way. She grew up white and she was really privileged growing up.
This photo of Dolezal sporting long dreadlocks extensions at an MLK rally in January, appearing different from the blonde girl born in Montana seen in these photos released by her parents. Dolezal's brothers saying Rachel's physical transformation started a few years ago.
It started out with the hair, and then she'd have, probably a little darker tan. And it was very progressive.
Dolezal emailing NAACP chapter members over the weekend, writing, "There are many layers to this situation." Her credibility on the docket Monday when the NAACP board meets. Dolezal's predecessor as chapter president telling me he had no idea Dolezal might be white. You had no idea your successor was white?
Right. It just didn't matter with me, really. So she said, I went by what she said.
And what did she say?
She said she was African American.
And everybody believed it. In the meantime, Dolezal in that email to many of the members saying that she will discuss her race tomorrow here in that meeting with the board members in Spokane. Some interesting comments, so Dan and Paula, from her adopted brothers.
Absolutely. And a lot of people looking forward to what she's going to say tomorrow. Candace, thanks for being on the story for us.
Spokane's most controversial figures faced a judge today accused of welfare fraud. Nkechi Diallo is better known as her former name, Rachel Dolezal, the previous head of Spokane's NAACP and member of the Police Accountability Committee. Well, she rose to international infamy for admitting she had lied about her race, and now she's facing felony charges. KXLY4's Hawk Hammer was in the courtroom with more, and now he has the more on those changes tonight. Hawk?
Well, Nadine, the charges she faces are theft in the first degree for welfare fraud, perjury, and false verification for public assistance. She owned up to neither today in the courtroom. calmly and confidently walking out of Spokane's county courthouse, Nkechi Diallo outwardly showed no signs of regret.
Nkechi Diallo.
Just minutes prior, she faced a judge, charged with stealing nearly $9 grand from the state.
Those two charges, and you never plead of guilty or not guilty. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
State charges indicate her choice to remain in the spotlight became her undoing. According to court documents, the Department of Social and Health Services investigation showed she had claimed an income of only $300 per month. Money, she said, came from friends. But investigators learned about her very public book deal, revenue from which she hadn't reported to the state. State said she had also made money selling art, soap, and dolls, money she also didn't report. All in all, between 2015 and 2017, about a 2-year period, Diallo's bank record showed deposits totaling nearly $84,000. Now the state wants back the almost $9 grand they say they overpaid her. Money she says she didn't steal. Something she'll have to prove.
I will sign the order to have you report to the jail no later than 5 o'clock on July 2nd.
She won't be incarcerated, but she'll be fingerprinted and photographed, then released on her own recognizance. But the state wants her to stick around.
Remain in Spokane County, commit no criminal law violations, do not possess any non-prescribed controlled substances.
Her trial will be this September. And for perspective, KXLY reached out to the Department of Social and Health Services Office of Fraud and Accountability for a little perspective here. They tell me the average fraud case for them is about $10,000, so Diallo's $9 grand is just under average for them. They say back in 2017 they recovered $2.5 million from fraud cases, so this is just a blip, but they say every taxpayer dollar counts. Reporting live, Hawk Hammer, KXLY 4 News.
Thank you, Hawk.
All right. So we see old Rachel Dolezal back in the news. Knew it wasn't going to go away because, again, kind of was a blemish on the white side of the game. Well, here was a white woman posing herself as to be a sister. Everything that she did academically, everything she was, associated, married with, and, her knowledge and everything was black, except for the fact that she biologically was a white woman. And as a matter of fact, even held a, position in the NAACP, right? So it kind of was a spook who sat by the door in reverse, right? And so, again, her being Dolezal, right? Again, I think it's a German, right? So, they didn't take a kid. But again, she just got some white privilege, right? I ain't never not gave you from where I'm from. Again, you need to see the video I did last night. I really don't want to do a reiteration of what I did last night. But if you ain't checked yesterday's video, you'll really get the real full of what I said. Because, again, I couldn't get no videos off last night. So I had to give it today. But, again, you from where I'm from. Again, you happen to have you single parent household. Mama was on, they say FCID back then, right? It was FCID. And so, get the food stamps, then, mama get a job or something. Then, that little transit, you still getting that check, but you're just getting that, you're getting your first check. And then, you got to go through probation period, right? You got the 90 days to make a job. But, being a deal where it's being a black American, again, African American is different from black American, right? And being a black American, the hard thing sometimes is maintaining a job, not because of your job performance, just to the simple fact that sometimes your presence rubs some people in the wrong way, right? And so what end up happening is, either you're going to stay in your square, you're going to walk on eggshell, depending on what type of individual, how you cut from, what cloth you cut from, right? And so, so you go through the probation, maybe you don't get there. So what ended up happening is mama and them, they may not get to the probationary period, which is about 90 days, which is about 3 months. So they then got about a month, month and a half, 2 months, and then somehow they end up losing the job. But then they got a couple of checks, right? And so now, they found out that you got the couple of checks. Now they done cut you off. Well, you got a job, everything good. So then you lose your job. Now, you got to go back and try to reapply, but they're saying there's money that you owe, and then they got to work that whole situation out. So what ended up happening, fellas, this is where you learn to eat your mayonnaise sandwich, hot sauce sandwich, sugar sandwich, honey, syrup, butter. You know what I'm talking about, you from where I'm from? Huh? You know what I'm talking about? That's where you learned that from. Because mama going through that transition, them stamps, got caught up, talking about like she talking about 9,000. But again, my point I'm trying to make is I ain't never heard, you know what I'm saying? I ain't never heard somebody had first degree fraud. You know what I'm saying? They that shit like a felony. And matter of fact, judge said some doing some time, but they said, did you catch it? She's not going to do no time. All they going to do is take her fingerprints and say, well, you can't be having no controlled substance and all that, but you ain't going to jail. We're going to work it out so you give up this money. See, there's still that little white privilege is still there, ain't it? Huh? Still there. One still, as much as she is was a professor of African studies, right? And all she know all that stuff, right? And you know, say married to an African man, have African children, and you know what I'm saying, all that good stuff. But still, after all that being said and done, see, this was a lesson for her to learn. But that white privilege still kicked in. Because you still on felony, they got a felony 1 fraud on you. You understand? And a couple other things they had you in, so they can hit you with they can lock you up, but they gonna just say, nah, see, do you really want to be that, or you won't come on back? Come on back and tell us some of the things you know now, right? Now we got the spook that's sat by the door in reverse. All right, anyway, man, let me move on, man. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. That's the name of the game. That's the way it is. All right, whatever. They ain't gonna go on no more. All right, so let me move on. Now, this story here, again, last night I did this story, but again, I'm giving the video for the simple fact it's just toe up, right? It's just really toe up, man. I hope Sunday fella down here that be listening to me, you know what I'm saying? You know, I get it. You know what I'm saying? But you can't do that, man. You can't do this. What you talking about, Mr. Bloodman? Check this out, y'all. Check this one out. Oh, man, this crazy. This real crazy.
And gave birth. CBS Phoenix affiliate KPHO reports the woman gave birth to a baby boy shortly after Christmas. She has been in a vegetative state for more than a decade. A spokesman for Arizona's governor calls the situation deeply troubling and promises a new focus on patient safety. Omar Villafranca is outside the Hacienda Healthcare Nursing Facility in Phoenix. Omar, good morning.
Good morning. There is now a police car stationed outside of Hacienda Healthcare, and family members tell me that's the most security they've ever seen here. This facility is now under criminal investigation as detectives try to figure out who is responsible.
A lot of people are mad, my family included.
Parents of other patients inside Hacienda Healthcare are furious and demanding answers.
My heart hurts, my chest hurts. I haven't been able to sleep good at night because of what occurred here.
They're concerned for the safety of their loved ones after a female patient who's been in a vegetative state for 14 years gave birth. Sources familiar with the case tell CBS Phoenix affiliate KPHO the woman has been a patient at Hacienda Healthcare for more than a decade after a near drowning incident left her incapacitated. A source tells KPHO she delivered a healthy baby boy on December 29th, but none of the staff inside the clinic knew the patient was pregnant until she began moaning shortly before going into labor. When you heard about the news of what happened here,
everybody was up in shock.
Karina Cecina's 22-year-old daughter Jasmine has been a patient at Hacienda Healthcare for about 2 years. Now, Karina's not leaving her side.
You're staying here 24/7 because you still don't trust?
No. Trust has been broken and severed completely.
While privacy laws limit video surveillance in healthcare centers, Cecina says there needs to be more cameras.
Are there any cameras that you see right now in the facility? None?
None.
Not in the hallway?
No.
Not in a room?
Nothing.
Not in a nurse's station?
Nope. Nothing.
A federal database that tracks nursing homes reveals Hacienda Healthcare has an overall rating of 1 out of 5 stars. According to state records, a staff member was fired in 2013 after making inappropriate sexual comments about patients. Hacienda Healthcare declined our request for an interview, but in a statement says it's cooperating with law enforcement and conducting a comprehensive internal review of processes, protocols, and people to ensure that every single resident is safe.
Even though now it is a little bit better, but this should have been done prior to this incident happening.
Cecina is quick to point out there are more good people than bad people here at this facility, but there are also still a lot of unanswered questions. Mainly, how did staff not notice that the woman was pregnant when they're changing, bathing her, and caring for her every day? No arrests have been made, no suspects have been named. Bianna?
Of course, you will be following this bizarre story, but one thing is clear, as that family member said, trust has been broken.
And if you have somebody in a facility, you can go to Medicare.gov and check that facility against their database to see if there have been any charges or rating problems or any issues. So
it's good to know.
A lot of questions about that story, but the main thing you feel is just really sick and disgusted about that for the young woman, for her family, for everybody involved.
And a lack of
Terrible
cameras
story.
as well in the
Terrible
facility.
story.
All right. So we have at the hacienda, a house, right? So again, it's a kind of a, healthcare place. Again, when people are paraplegic or just incapacitated, can't monitor nor take care of themselves. So what you have is, this facility, that's what it does. It provides that kind of care because, this day and age, a lot of people don't, they allow other people to do that. When back in the certain days, people that would be in the homes, right, and find family members and stuff that would try to, provide that kind of care. Again, it takes a lot of time consuming if you have other things to do, family, work, and so forth. So again, so you pay for a facility to do that kind of work. And so the situation is, again, people gonna be people, right? You get, again, you see people what you see them for, but again, you don't know who they are underneath that. Again, you see their PR person, right? The public relation individual. That's the person who they want you to see, right? But then opportunity, right? When opportunity there, then, you might find out who they really is. And so here's a situation where a woman had been in a vegetative state. Originally, I thought it was coma, right? Coma would be like somebody just not even there, no functioning, they breathe, body functions, right? But then again, as in being conscious and coherent and all that is not there. But this is vegetated where, again, the individual actually is, the eyes are open, right? Again, I gave a story last night for some of you might can relate. Maybe it happened to you, which is, I was small, I was young, maybe I was about maybe 5, 6, maybe, you know what I'm saying? And I remember I woke up, you know what I'm saying? But I couldn't move, right? But I could see, because I see my mother, I was in the other side of the room, my mother had over there, and I could see her, and I'm trying to, yell, Ma, Ma, but it wasn't nothing coming out, right? But I had learned later on that I see Oprah and them did some stuff about, they talking about the, people who talk, you see on the internet, talking about astral projection, right? So I guess the motherfucker was astral projecting, and then was coming back to settle. I've been in the elevator, and the elevator don't get quite down on the floor, the door won't open. That's what happened, right? So I got back in the body somehow, and then got up too quick, but, I wasn't settled right. So I was locked in that state, right? But that was not a good-ass feeling to be in, right? So I can imagine somebody been like that 10 to 14 years. That's the only way I can relate to a vegetative state. You understand? From what I've observed from outwards, I would know, but that's the only thing I can relate. Maybe somebody else has been there like I've been there, right? Again, I ain't going to never tell you what I heard. I'm always tell you what I know. And so here's somebody been in that state for about 10 to 14 years. And here's somebody who, maintaining you, washing you, combing your hair, brushing, keeping you nice and fresh. And obviously must be a man. So again, from my reading last night, because I ain't going to do it today because I already did again. If you want to hear that, go back and see the video prior to today. And accordingly, by this being a man, right, they said that this individual was a Indian tribe woman, right? So I don't know how. Damn, I almost choked on that. So they didn't tell me who she was, what her age was, and so forth. But according to the story, it says that she had drowned, and somehow, she haven't fully recovered from after, maybe being underwater, whatever it was, but she's in a vegetative state. So here's some individual, day in, day out, you know what I'm saying? Part of their duties is probably, to wash and take care. And so, seeing this person, again, we don't know who this was. Again, they're going to go through the whole facility, and they testing every man to get their DNA. And if you don't involuntarily do it or voluntarily do it, they're going to get a court order and do it. So they got a long list of mugs, and again, it has to be somebody within at least the last year, right? So they got to get at least everybody back on last year and do that DNA test to find out, because they said all of a sudden this woman was moaning, right? Having a baby. Now, as the story said, wait a minute. Who was maintenance and who was taking care of her didn't see that woman's stomach was growing. So that let you know, whoever that was recently, they knew. I'm just getting to it like that. Whoever was recently knew, and they kept that under wraps. Sitting there wanting to drop a seed in somebody. I mean, you understand? Again, ain't about no condone, but I said, God, come on, man. Right? So you dropping seeds up in right? So now it's going to be like that scene in Life. Remember that movie Life? I be the baby's pappy. Huh? Remember that one? Well, somebody finna be the baby's pappy, and you gonna get a whole lot with that one, right? And I think you need to be plastered up the fuck up out of here, because again, that's it's kind of like the same situation we talking about with this, taking advantage of a young girl. Well, here's somebody taking advantage of somebody in a vegetated state. How do you make the correlation of making that copacetic, making that normal? There's something of dysfunction in yourself just in the fact that you've been thought. Now, again, like I said last night, I was telling the ladies that might have been listening. I was like, well, you know how sometimes you're in a relationship, bro, I want to get a little something. You ain't feeling up to it, right? Like, come this, you want to turn, dead horse, I'm talking about, fellas, right? And let's get it off with us. But this case here, this ain't gonna never be no movement. This brother just took straight advantage of the situation, right? And you have to sit there and take, and she, she just sitting there taking it. And the thing is, for that long period of time, you don't know how many times that done took place, but this motherfucker that did this dropped seed in. Then, last and foremost, you got the ex, again, kind of like my mom being incarcerated, right? You got family men locked up and nobody don't come see them, and then at the period of time everybody know nobody don't come see you. A lot of shit can happen to you, right? Well, that's what looked like this happened here. Wasn't nobody coming on the regular. Wasn't nobody coming on the weekly. You understand? So it was opportunity. Like, shit, don't nobody care about you, right? Ain't nobody here but you. It's third shift, right? Somebody probably thinks third shift. Ain't nobody here. They ain't got cameras, none of that. Psst, opportunity all day for a sick motherfucker, and that's what he did. Anyway, it's not a laughing matter, but again, that's the kind of society we live in, right? That's the kind of society we in, because again, it's all about this, this sexual energy, whether it's on AC or DC side, right? But anyway, let's moving on. What else I got in here? I got a couple more in here. Let's see this one here. Well, this one I did last night as well too. I didn't have a video for it, so I'm going to play this and be right back, and we come right back.
The estate of Charlena Lyles, a black woman fatally shot by 2 white police officers in Seattle in June, has taken the first step in a wrongful death lawsuit against the city. The claim filed yesterday alleges police were negligent and violated her civil rights when the officers fatally shot Lyles, a 30-year-old pregnant mother of 4, in her own apartment. The officers have said after responding to a 911 burglary call from Lyles, she threatened and tried to stab them with kitchen knives. Based on a police recording of the incident, the claim says the officers failed to order Lyles to drop the knives or warn her they would shoot. Lyles had a history of mental health issues, according to her family, while the officers had undergone special training to handle people in distress and reduce their use of lethal force. 3 of Lyles' children were in her apartment when she was killed. Her family alleges race was a factor in the shooting, which has sparked protests and remains under investigation. No comment from the city or the police. Seattle has 60 days to respond to the claim before a suit can officially be filed.
All right, that was a sister. That name was Charlena Lyles. just the other day, again, I read the story yesterday where they actually dismissed the case on the officers. Again, the background to that story is the fact that she called about a burglary in her house. As you've seen in the video, you've seen the two cops come, but you only see them in the hallway. So again, where was the videotape of the officers so we could see what really transpired? But all we do is we hear some yelling and we hear the firing. And again, we get the report of what they said that transpired, because again, dead people can't talk, right? And so again, the family is co-signing and saying that, well, you know, she had mental issues, right? Okay, even if that being said, again, as I said, the being DOS in this land, you know, trauma is passed down from generation to generation, and the people who have not been dealt with in no form of capacity, again, a lot of stuff that we're dealing with, again, we are the 8th wonders of the world, right? They say 7 wonders of the world, but black Americans are the 8th wonders of the world, because again, even they're amazed at the reason why we still here, and that most of us even are still sane, right? And all the shit that we go through on a daily basis. So again, it would not be out of the ordinary to have that some of our people would be like that. Again, most of the county jails is really just nothing but a asylum, right? Insane asylum for people who can't cope or have mental issues that they either self-medicating themselves or no one is giving care, and so they are put in these situations. And again, well, what the hell do they care? They're gonna make money off you, right? So seeing this situation here, again, I'm saying if she calls for a burglary, which means the dispatcher got to say that who called, and it was what the call was on response to. So if you come into her house and she opens the door, how'd you get to the state that you're shooting? Now, again, the cop says that he didn't have his taser. He did the whole thing that you said about your homework. He left it in the locker. He left, I left my taser in the locker, right? And so that's the reason why I ended up shooting. Well, what about the other partner? What about him? Okay, you didn't have it. What about him? Right? What about him? Did he have one? What about a billy club? Now, they said that Charlena Lyles only weighed 100 pounds, under 100 pounds. What? Really? Really? Why to the back in the day where, you know, the old movies, again, I guess because movies don't show that no more. It used to be back in the day, like you watch a Western, when the gunslinger didn't want to kill you, he shoot the gun out your hand, right? Pew! That gun out your motherfucking hand, right? Shoot knife out your hand. Indian try to hit with the knife. You know, Indians only had knife and bows, right? So he could shoot that. What happened to that? Incapacitate a motherfucker. What's this shoot to kill? Why is it always shoot to kill? Why is it just can't incapacitate somebody so that they can't be no harm to you nor themselves, right? So all we hear is we hear the gunfire, and then in the report it says this, and I'm going to be done with it. The baby, now you heard it say she had 4 children. The baby, mama down there dying or dead, baby crawl up, lay up on mama. So now they dismiss the case and say, well, they're not culpable, they can't be charged. So you know how it is. They're going to get some money out the deal. So that's what it is. Your body is worth it. But again, they're going to make that anyway off your body parts anyway, right? Let's keep that shit 100, right? So anyway, moving on. Matter of fact, this is the second part to that. Matter of fact, let me give you the second part to that. There was another part to that. Hold on, one more part. Let me move on.
A pregnant woman was shot dead by police in front of her children.
Hey, get back! Get back!
Seattle police say 30-year-old Charlena Lyles called 911 to report a burglary. But when officers showed up, they say Lyles confronted them with knives. Police opened fire, shooting the woman. She died in the apartment while waiting for medical help to arrive. Her 4 children were home, but none of them were injured. Lyle's sister told a local news station the mom of 4 had mental health problems. Police say they had previously been called to the apartment and arrested Lyles for harassment. That time they say she was armed with scissors. Now her family says they want answers for what they're calling an unjustified shooting. The officers involved have been placed on administrative leave while the shooting is being investigated. For InsideEdition.com, I'm Mara Montalbano.
A trial is due to begin for a former French boxer caught on camera punching police officers at a yellow vest protest in Paris. Sarah's back with that story because it's been trending online in France, hasn't it?
It has, and after the new year, more than 50,000 people resumed their yellow vest protest against the government. Now, former boxing champion Christophe Dating joined in, but things got a bit out of hand, literally. So this video has since gone viral, showing him landing punch after punch as he pushed against several police officers. You can see there, and he's received a lot of support, surprisingly, with some even calling him a hero. But some have also criticised him for attacking police officers. Now, people actually don't know it was the boxer throwing punches until French police identified him on Twitter. And this is the tweet that they put out there. They said, "For a boxer, you do not respect a lot of rules. We will teach you those of the penal code." Now, a fundraiser that's been on an online platform in France to help him with his legal fees has raised over $100,000, but the fundraiser has since been taken down. The government's been quite outraged about it. And former presidential candidate Jean-Luc Mélenchon tweeted that it's forbidden to pay fines through collection. Christophe has not been convicted, he says, and the aim of the collection is actually to help his family. Now, another French minister criticised the fundraiser, saying apparently hitting a police officer pays off, and everyone must assume their responsibilities. This fund is actually shameful. Christophe handed himself over to the police shortly after, but this is the video that he took before he went into custody. This is what he had to say.
I'm proud of being French. I'm not part of the far left or the far right. I'm an ordinary citizen. I am French. I love my country. And now it's come to this point. With the yellow vest hit over and over again, I confronted the police and got tear gassed with my friend and my wife. For a moment, the anger rose up inside me. I reacted badly, yes, I reacted badly, but I defended myself.
And many are standing by him, like this yellow vest supporter himself who uploaded a video on YouTube.
He was tear gassed and reacted in a way that was completely normal. The police cannot continue to hit, tear gas, or use their flashballs against us. If they keep killing and wounding civilians, certain people will begin to react with violence, and we cannot continue to suffer under the humiliation of this violence.
And this video you're about to see has also been retweeted several times. It's been shared as well on Twitter. Let's take a look.
Il faut comprendre que le boxeur du pont, Christophe, n'est pas...
It's important to understand that he is not being seen as a hero by many yellow vests. They consider him a delinquent, or even a terrorist, spreading fake news. And this is all because he stood up to police violence, against yellow vest protesters that have suffered for months non-stop. The yellow vests will not bow their heads anymore. Christophe is a national symbol and a hero.
So you can see some very divided opinions, and we'll keep you across that because he still is in custody. But if there's any other stories you think we should be covering, the hashtag is AJ Newsgrid.
All right. So see the old Frenchie, until they're going over there with their yellow jacket again. Being a boxer, again, as I said last night, talked about the fact that a boxer, again, has illegal weapons with his hands, right? So he actually can't hit civilians, right? He going to the pen for that, right? So it looks like the same thing here. He was winding up, giving the cop because he said they was tear gassing. He had his wife, and so he tried to defend himself. But again, the people surrounded and said, "Hey, we're gonna support you, man. Good job," you know. And again, the government didn't like that, right? It was like, "Hey, this guy's fighting authority." You understand? And you guys want to give him, you're actually giving him funds to actually have legally fight, and so they're gonna, take that and all that stuff again because they don't want to make that to be some kind of hero, right? Because again, that could spread, and then. Before you know it, chaos everywhere again. Because just like we seen the story prior before, what happened with the sister Charlena Lyles, how they, end up killing her. And then if you seen the way that the late edition, how they did it, they showed in the hallway, then they go show the fire. But if you seen originally what I did it, they showed them cops had already went in the corridor to a door. So how did they get to shoot? See. But see, they had to play the Jedi mind trick on you, right? So again, again, like people say, there's good cops out here, and then you have those who hide behind their job to do their dirty work and hide behind the job and say, well, I'm only doing my job, right? But in time, again, the inevitable. Everybody got to stand before on that move on that day. So have your case, have your case together. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's the Frenchie was out there throwing hands. But again, see him being white. Not nobody pulled no gun, no gun. Let that head be on me or you. Huh? By the time you hit that glass the first time, they all were drawing. Huh? Matter of fact, even before that, when you was even putting your hand up to ball up, they was on you. So, we always know there's two sides to that coin, right? So anyway, moving on. Let me look out here in the audience, see what's going on out here. I got a couple more people in the house. That's good. Yeah, let me hold a like or dislike if you like what's going on over here. Hit a comment and all that good stuff over here. Got Furious God in the house checking in with you. What's good, Furious God? Leonard the Youth in the house. Bernard Thomas is in the house. Who else? I got Angela Barron. What's good, girl? Who else is in the house? It look like that's about it. I see I got 8 up in the house. Okay. All right, so let's see if anything else. Bernard had said R. Kelly gave a good response to that question in sarcastic manner. Bernard Thomas said Esther was a young woman getting groomed for the king by the older woman of the king to be another wife of his. Just stop doing for women and such ill will. All right. And remember that movie White Boys in '98. What you talking about, Bernard? Let's see. Remember that movie White Boys in? I know I missed you when you did that originally. Got to go back to what you're talking about. The Brothers Lost in the Sauce and The Elder. Okay. Next, we got a movie called Nightmare. Or Sleep. Okay, I was hearing somebody was talking about that. I might actually go check that out. Somebody's talking about that, so I haven't seen that. You appreciate your share? Who you talking about? You share with me, King? Who's that? Omnipotent nigga? A Naga? Omnipotent Naga. What's good, sir? Hopefully that you like everything over here. Hit that like button. Give it something. This is the most hated show on the black corner of the internet. That's why it's hard to find it because again, they keep me from not being out there. You go and look and see I only got 100 views. I can't get 100, 150 views. I got 2,900 people, but they ain't going to let me get past 150 because there's a reason why. Because, again, what we do over here. But appreciate you being over here, sir. All right, Rachel. Okay, Tom, I'm gonna have to go check that out, bruh. I'm going to definitely check that out. All right, so I got a couple more in here, y'all. This one here, now, since you talking about that, I got to check this out. Check this out. Now, that's right on time, Bernard Thomas. You right on time, boy. You like Metamucil, boy. You right on time. All right, so check this out. Now, again, there's two folds how we got to look at this. Okay, you remember when you seen the movie Black Panther, right? And you remember that one aspect about the movie when they were talking about the sisters and how the sisters were the warriors, right? Again, I ain't got nothing against her. Angela Barron, she a warrior, right? She ride or die with me. That's what I appreciated Angela Barron in here, right? And you got sisters like that. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. Again, there's a point in time for everything, right? So I seen this here and I was like, there's two cuts to this. It's a twofold cut. So let me show you this first, and then I'll come back and give my dissertation on it or my thought on it. So here it is. Check it out.
If you do something wrong to my animals, I'll catch you.
Strike! More aggression this time.
It's one of the largest elephant populations left on the continent.
What do the men think of the men that you know?
They just think that you cannot do it. They are totally wrong.
Are you scared?
Why scary? Why?
How many arrests have we done now? We've done many arrests.
Yeah, more than 30.
Historically, we'd have to recruit rangers from around the country to come in and protect an area like this, so they're not influenced by the people that they grew up with in the local community. Women just don't seem to be corruptible in that aspect.
It's very difficult to catch a poacher who lives in the same village with you or next village, but you are my neighbor, my relative. If you do something wrong to my animals, I'll catch you.
I did a selection course for 189 men about 6 or 7 years ago. At the end of day 1, we had 3 left. At the end of day 3 with these women, only 3 had pulled off.
Down. 17. Down.
8. My former husband used to exploit me. The marriage lifetime with him was a tough time because I just saw all my goals being shattered down. I just want to prove it that no job is meant for me, and I hope I've already proven it.
I didn't manage to get enough money to send my daughter to school, even to buy clothes or even food. It was so difficult for me to survive. I now do things on my own. It gives me courage that I'm someone. I'm different from others.
So, can I ask Vimbai to come forward, please? Hi, Vimbai. Congratulations. Trust that you'll fulfill them well and do us all proud. Okay. Thank you very much. Long-term solutions involve winning the hearts and minds of the community, and the most effective way to do that is through the women. Squad dismissed! Women, given the opportunity, have the mettle to change the face of conservation forever.
I don't know why they choose me. They know. So I'll try my level best to please them. I'll do my best. We are here to protect animals. That's our duty. They will not disappear forever. We'll protect them.
We need to get used. We need to get used.
You're gonna keep fucking with the mic, huh? All right, let's see. Let me know if I'm back on, y'all. See, they cut me for a second again, as usual, right? Let me know if I'm back on, y'all. Let me know if I'm back. Let me know if I'm back. Somebody hit the one. Okay, hit the one. Hit the one. Can you hear me? Am I back? Am I back? All right, good. Okay. Tell you, boy, hard working man. This it is what it is, right? So here's the article on that. Let me give y'all this right quick. It says the brave ones meet Zimbabwe's all-female sharpshooting anti-poacher squad. You know I'm gonna say that again. The brave ones meet Zimbabwe's all-female shooting anti-poacher squad. This story was done in the Daily Wire. It says Zimbabwe's hidden weapons against poachers. They're the kind of subjects that movies are made of, except the truth is sometimes stranger than fiction. Zimbabwe calls them the Akashniga Squad, the brave ones. An all-female band of sharpshooting anti-poacher hunters, and they mean business. Abused and disadvantaged women have become Zimbabwe's hidden weapon against poachers who kill elephants and rhinos for their tusks and horns, says CBS News of the squad. The Ashinga Squad is a Zimbabwe first all-female anti-poaching team that has quickly earned a top reputation as sharpshooters. In the past, this band of brave ones has arrested over 80 armed poachers, many of whom pose as much of a threat to human life as they do to animals' life. According to Save the Rhinos, at least 1,000 rangers have died in the line of duty in a decade, with many more unreported casualties. In 2015 alone, 42% of rangers' deaths were due to the attack by poachers, compared to the 17% killed by wild animals, reports the organization. No doubt, the Akashinga squad performs a tremendous service. Sometimes they operate at full stealth, and the poachers have no idea of their presence. Petronalia Chingubula, so-called the star sniper of the squad, often dons a camouflage suit while patrolling solo at night. When I wear this suit, no one can see me, and I can hide from the poachers. Chingubula said CBS News foreign correspondent Deborah Pata in a report from Down to Earth by CBS News on Facebook Watch. Recruited by former Australian Special Ops soldier Damien Mander, many of the women come from difficult backgrounds, from crippling poverty to domestic violence. Member Narandozo Hato spoke of the horrors of fleeing her allegedly abusive husband, which is not exactly the easiest task in an African country. The abuse thing was refusing me to find a job, to look for a job, and to proceed with my education. That's where the fight starts, she said. Sometimes he clubs me, he hits me. Hato's husband allegedly frequently beats her so badly that she could not stand up sometimes. Today, with her high-caliber rifle, she has a newfound sense of confidence. I just told myself I am wasting my time. I have nothing to do. Something is too much now, she said, and I can do something great. I can save myself. I see that no man is going to challenge me again. Damien Mander initially had misgivings about then leading an all-female squad of soldiers, but now sees their tremendous benefits as sharpshooters. I have built a career across 3 continents by bringing hardened men to the point of breaking and then rebuilding them into what we need on the front lines. And women never factor into the equation, said Mander. We not only pride ourselves on being the only all-male unit in the military, but we ridicule units that transition into accepting females. The whole time it was just a fighting against our egos, he said. For us, counterinsurgency in Iraq was about countering insurgents. It's a male mindset. You're looking at from a fight. Women, I do not know you actually want to solve a problem and have a conversation. It's a big difference. Men to see the symbolic undertone of maternal women fighting on the side of Mother Nature. I think women, given the opportunity, will change the face of the conversation forever. And Mander, I think we will have serious understanding estimates of one of the most powerful forces in nature. The anti-poaching life has its drawbacks, life and soldier life. The women often go weeks and even months at a time without seeing their families. Chigumura, for instance, only gets to see her children every 2 months. As noted by the Save the Rhinos anti-poaching squad, typically aim to arrest poachers and only engage in lethal force when fired upon. All right, so what you see there is you see the sisters that they have in Zimbabwe for this anti-poacher squad, right? So they're there to work for the white man to do what? To preserve the animals, right? To preserve the animals, right? And again, if you've been an avid watcher of this show, we have already come across what we've seen, how a lot of the billions of dollars being poured into Africa to so-called help to build the infrastructure. But we understand about 1885 in history, the recolonization again is happening once again. So again, if you see the white man have his interest about so much about the animals, it's more about he's probably putting his flag on his moon, right? And so again, we see the same thing that we see here in the United States. Seems to be this whole campaign about making the black man the enemy to the black woman. I'm going to say that again. Seems like there's a campaign, you know, where you go on the bubble in this place, that there's a campaign to make the black man the boogeyman, as I say, Baba Yaga, right? And make his so-called, supposed to be his counterpart, have a wedge between them. And again, as the what was that? About eating out of the hand. What book is that? You know what book I'm talking about? On the river of James, on the bank of James River. Right? You know that whole thing talking about how to make the eat out of her hand, and she'll teach her children to eat out of right same hand, right? So he take bad women out of in bad situations, right? And bring them in and say, now I'll give you an opportunity. You can make some money. I'm going to make you be a soldier. You understand? And, now she's providing. She's kind of the man, but she don't need a man because now she don't like men. And what happens, ladies, when there's a bunch of y'all together and you start feeling the need, again, it can breed that as well, right? And so, again, we see that there's this other kind of contraceptive that is happening amongst for black folks, making the dichotomy, the divide and conquer between men and women, right? Where we having these feuds with each other. Again, we're all under the same oppression, and so sometimes whatever happening is the fact that the pressure that's coming from there. Again, they say the people who lash out are the people who most closest to you, and that's why a lot of times the domestic violence happens, because if the black man, again, being the most hated man on this planet, right, and is in a suppressive state or condition, right, that, again, some dudes walk on eggshells, some trying to maintain their masculinity, but again, it jobs, rules, and regulations, and certain motherfuckers that got certain powers will come and try to snap the whip at you, and then you don't get a chance because you're trying to preserve, because you're trying to maintain the people who need your support, and so you all built up with all kinds of shit, and so what ends up happening again, sometimes, things at home, get into arguments about shit, and then it just spill over, right? And so they'll take that situation and make that become bigger. So again, posterizing Bill Cosby, posterizing R. Kelly. Again, I'm not saying whether they didn't do it or not. That's not what I'm saying. But as I finish tonight, we're going to see there's something even bigger than them. That again, you see last night, the day before, right? I played it the night before because that's the whole thing where everybody you got caught up looking at R. Kelly, right? But you didn't get caught up looking at that. Right? And so the same thing here with the Zimbabwe thing is they doing the same thing on the continent. They're creating those dynamics. Again, you have Ebola, you got AIDS, you got a lot of stuff in there that is keeping them from copulating, right? Building, and then they got the psychological aspect where people are just becoming white-minded, right? Like back in the day, those used to play, I think it was the first Xbox, right? I remember that John Madden, the one where he had a black man as a coach and had a white-ass head. Did y'all repeat that shit? Like, he had a white head. I used to tell people, I'd be like, why the black man got to have a white head to be a goddamn coach? See, there was some symbolic racial ass shit in there. Yeah, for those who remember, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so you got these sisters. Again, he said something. The white man said, well, I got some of the toughest, roughest men that couldn't even endure what I was enduring them. Right? Well, you didn't really want that. Because then, again, you're in a massive situation with a harem, right? Who they looking to? Again, right? You the only man there, right? So, he only stick in the house, right? So there's some benefits for him too. And of course, we know that they look in the animal kingdom, right? You see the lion, everybody say the king of the jungle is the lion. But who the motherfucker going out there getting the food and doing all the motherfucker killing and let him eat first, right? So you know that the woman she can do that. Again, we understand roles, right? But we understand too that, they can say ain't no fear like a woman scorned. So when a woman is on that side of the thing, you goddamn right. I mean, matter of fact, isn't that what what's his name over Libya? When his entourage of those who protected him was all women, right? Didn't Gaddafi have all women? But somehow that shit didn't work though, right? But anyway, so again, like I said, they always got some angle when they doing that shit, right? It is women that sitting there being, okay, you can be militarized. I remember one time you didn't even want to put women in there, not because, again, you're not capable, but again, that's a man's job. It's man supposed to be there. But now they done blurred the lines. So if I got you out there fighting, then you ain't about taking care of home. And she said, well, it take months before I see my kids, but who's losing out on that? It's like today. One job can't be sufficient enough for two people to survive on, so everybody working, so who raising the kid? TV, school, streets, and then wonder why all this shit is happening all out here, right? It is what it is, right? So, all right, moving on. I got to get to the end because I got to try to get the second show off tonight, y'all. All right, so this one here says, I'm talking about that, right? I always lead y'all along to something. So since I'm leading you there, check this out. As we talking about, again, the dynamics between a man and a woman, and a black man and a woman, and how everybody just like a kind of a contraceptive, right? So they might as well just go ahead and go to the real organization that really is doing the most damage, even though Stephanie is trying to say it's doing one thing. Well, listen to what this person ended up saying, and then you see behind it, and then you'll know. All right, what I'm talking about, Mr. Bloodmine, check this out. I'll be right back.
Every day, Planned Parenthood workers serve more than 8,000 people in more than 600 clinics across the country. In 2016, nearly 2.5 million people turned to the organization for health care. This came amid increased scrutiny of its leadership in the political arena. Beginning today, those responsibilities fall to Lena Wen, who takes over as Planned Parenthood's new president. She was previously Baltimore's health commissioner, and she's here only on CBS this morning. Good morning, doctor. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's my first day on the job.
And you're with us. Hey. So you're the first doctor to lead this organization in half a century. What do you plan to bring to the organization from your background?
Well, this is deeply personal to me. I was a patient in Planned Parenthood, and so was my mother and my sister, just like 1 in 5 women in America. And as a doctor, I am proud to lead our organization as we deliver life-saving care to 2.5 million people every year.
And why did your family use Planned Parenthood?
When we first came to this country, my mother didn't have health care anywhere else. And Planned Parenthood was there for her, just as it's there for women across the country to provide cancer screenings, to provide birth control. We do more to prevent unintended pregnancies every year than any other organization.
Did you have any trepidation? You're the mother of a 14-month-old baby, Elijah. You are still a practicing emergency room physician. It has now become such a politicized and such a controversial job. Did you have any trepidation about taking it?
Being a parent has clarified my values, and what I want to do is to shape the future for my son, Eli. And it's a future where all people are treated the same, that all people have the right to health care, and where it's a society where we trust women and we trust all people to make the best decisions for themselves and their bodies.
So were you encouraged after the elections?
Yes and no. On the one hand, we saw people rise up, women, people of color rise up to speak in favor of reproductive rights and access to health care. But on the other hand, less than 24 hours after the elections, the Trump administration came out with new rules that would prevent employers, or actually that would allow employers to deny women birth control coverage. I can't believe it's 2018 and we're still debating birth control. Imagine if we're having the same conversation about vasectomies or about insulin. Women's healthcare is healthcare, and healthcare shouldn't be political.
Well, it is your first day at the job, but you are familiar with the Trump administration. As health commissioner in Baltimore, you've sued this administration twice and won. Given that this is a president who seems to hold grudges and has personal reactions to people directly, how do you plan on working with this administration going forward?
I come to this work as a doctor and not a politician. I'll work with anyone who wants to expand access to health care. For me, it's deeply personal. I treated a woman who waited more than a year before she had a lump in her breast examined. And by the time she got treated, it was too late. She had metastatic cancer, and she died not long after I saw her, leaving behind 3 young children. For me, that's what it's about. It's about saving people's lives. That's the work that we've done at Planned Parenthood for over 100 years. And I'm proud to keep on providing health care and protecting access to that care.
Doctor, you said becoming a mother clarified your values. So many people I've talked to who want to restrict abortion rights said Parenthood clarified their values, and that's why they want to restrict abortion rights. What do you tell those people who have the same parent-based authenticity to their beliefs that you claim?
I respect each person's beliefs for themselves. My problem is if they want to impose their own beliefs on other people. As a physician, I trust my patients. My job is to give medically accurate information to my patients and allow them to make the best choices about their health. I don't think that politicians have any role to play in the exam room in determining people's personal medical decisions. I trust women.
Let's talk about what's been happening at the ballot box in the midterm elections. You had 7 more governors who are pro-abortion rights were elected, but there were also anti-abortion measures that passed in the states of Alabama and West Virginia. Alabama specifically became the first state in the nation to enact what opponents call a personhood clause in its constitution. West Virginia became the first state to approve a measure stripping the state constitution of any abortion rights restrictions, including an issue about Medicaid funding. What's happening in the states?
We're seeing mixed results, and we are seeing people rise up in record numbers in favor of women's health care. We have more than 25 governors now who are pro-women's health. We're also seeing solidly red states like Utah, Idaho, and Nebraska vote in favor of Medicaid expansion, which indicates that people want more health care, not less. And I strongly believe as a physician that health care has to be a fundamental human right, and that women's health care is health care.
So is this argument that Roe versus Wade is going to be overturned, is that hyperbole?
There is a very real likelihood that Roe versus Wade could be overturned in this Supreme Court, which would leave 25 million women, which is a third of women of reproductive age in this country, without access to reproductive rights.
Not Roe versus Wade itself, but essentially some other case that comes through that restricts abortion rights?
Well, there are 15 cases right now that are just one step away from the Supreme Court. And in the last 7 years, there have been 400 laws passed in different states that directly restrict women's access. And I am deeply concerned about this from a public health perspective.
All right.
Well, your first day on the job, you got a lot of work to do, it seems.
Thank you.
But I'm excited to do it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I can tell. Thank you for coming today.
Dr. Lena Wen, thank you.
Planned Parenthood hails founder Margaret Sanger as a champion of civil rights. But one thing they don't talk about is the racism behind her fight to legalize abortion. A group of African-American leaders want to focus attention on her ideology and how it affected black birth rates. Abigail Robertson has more on this story.
Margaret Sanger strived for a society that limited births to only those she deemed fit to have children.
Well, I think the greatest sin in the world is bringing children into the world that have disease from their parents, that have no chance in the world to be a human being, practically. Delinquents, prisoners, all sorts of things just marked when they're born. That, to me, is the greatest sin.
Many pro-choice advocates see her as a hero, but critics call her a racist eugenics promoter who targeted black communities with her Planned Parenthood clinics.
Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood, once said, colored people are like weeds, they need to be exterminated.
People don't understand that 79% of Planned Parenthood clinics are located in minority communities, and that minority communities shoulder a disproportionate amount of abortion.
Dr. King says while African Americans make up only 13% of the U.S. population, over 30% of aborted babies are from black mothers.
Under the veil of secrecy and deception, 60+ million babies have not been born because they were aborted legally since '73. 1/3 of that population belong to the African American community.
Planned Parenthood recently celebrated its 100th anniversary, prompting pro-life leaders to unite under the banner 100 No More to educate the public on the harmful impact Planned Parenthood has had on the African American community. 100 No More hope rallies like this one in Washington spread across the country to enlighten people about Sanger and her tragic legacy.
I have a real serious concern about the number of abortions that's taking place in the minority community, particularly the black community. And that I see this as a form of genocide. That is something we need to take a serious look at.
Planned Parenthood receives around $500 million each year from taxpayers.
96% of the time, if a pregnant woman walks into their clinic, that she will have an abortion.
Pro-life advocates want Congress to move that money to women's clinics that do not perform abortions.
They outnumber already around the country Planned Parenthood clinics 20-1. They truly help poor women. They truly care for the least of these, but they don't do abortions.
Reporting from Washington, Abigail Robertson, CBN News.
All right. So there you go, right? Selling it like Planned Parenthood is a good thing, right? Oh, you know how they do. You know, care about women's health care. Again, what women are you talking about, right? Right, you know how it is. Again, you know, you have women who are feminists, right? You got black women, Chinese women, all kind of women, right? They fall under the feminism, right? But again, you not understand. How come your woman got a hyphenation on it, right? You got black woman, you got Chinese woman, but when they say woman, who are they talking about? All right, you don't fall for the game, see, because again, you need somebody to teach you that, right? Now, again, it's not against having, like, women not having no rights, because again, let's put it this way, black woman that's listening. If you ain't got no rights, do your man got rights? Do he got rights, or did you not come on the same boat? Did you not go into the same? Did you eat not the same bologna sandwich, a fried bologna sandwich he did too? Or you forgot about all that, right? Right? Or your education separated you from that, and again, you jumped on gender. But again, they use you for cannon fodder, right? They make it seem like, well, you know, we're for it. But again, as Peter King said, that, you know, a third of the numbers from going back from the 1970 up to now have been abortion by a lot of those who probably were supposed to come here maybe to do something, right? Now, again, we understand about pro-choice. We understand everybody has the right to choose. Again, it's your body, right? But what about the individual, right? Just imagine you not here because somebody decided to say you couldn't be here. You wouldn't be right here to hear me talk, and I wouldn't be here to talk. So what they do is they sell it like it's something good. It's kind of like what you do if you got a mouse in your house, right? You go get you some, the best way to catch your mouse is get you some peanut butter and put it on the trap, right? They can't resist peanut butter, right? So they smell the peanut butter, but they don't see the trap laid for it until it's too late, and then boom, it's over with, right? Well, that's how like Planned Parenthood is. Again, they be getting $500 million a year, but what they in there doing? They getting in, they recycling, because they taking what they get, and then they sell it back on the market, and this is how they're doing the research and all this stuff and the stem cell and everything else that they're doing. Again, go back and read Harriet Washington's book about what? What's the Harriet Washington book about? Anybody know what that is, what I'm about to say? Medical apartheid, right? Again, that AMA start with our ancestry's DNA. That's how you learn how to do a lot of your so-called medical research, right? Matter of fact, that's where you learn to get your inoculations from. Again, our ancestors knew that you take some stuff that they had, you put it in, and then that way you build immune system, immune to it, so that you got it, but then you wouldn't get the full blown. That's how you learn how to do the shots that you call immunization. But then you doing some Frankenstein shit and putting all concoctions in the shit. Again, if you was about 4 shows ago, where I talked about that they're gonna put the 6 shots in one, right? The 6 vaccines in one, right? So again, with this Planned Parenthood, again, who are the beneficiaries of it, and who are the ones who will carry the burden? Look like it's been those that should have been here to help do some change in this world. Didn't get an opportunity because, again, you made it accessible. You made it easy, right? And so I'm just saying, again, you see Margaret Sanger, right? She believed that, you know, again, we take it from her ideology. You as a black person is not deemed to have children, not fit. Right? But yet you jump on with them same people that talk about feminism, and then a lot of that is again to sucker you in and do some things, to do some harm to us. Again, it's always about divide and conquer when it comes to us. Right? It's about divide and conquer. So we just gonna have to just figure that shit out and understand that, again, what's laid at hand, and why. If you seen the other day there was a story about the nurses that worked at a particular hospital, I think it was in either Milwaukee or Wisconsin, that had about 30 babies, that all the staff nurses there got together, some smoke room, probably do some, you know, the in vitro, they all probably did that, right, to get pregnant. So now they had 30 babies. And if you remember, those who know why the original reason why you came on here had to do with the white extinction video, right? And remember I talked about that, about the decline of the birth? Again, I was the original one that brought that, where everybody talk about it now. It was me that brought that to the black corner, right? Now, that's me not being facetious like no, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, I brought that. And then in that same dissertation of that video, I talked about they had to come and do this population. So we're seeing it. You're going to see this. And as I said last night or the night before, talking about, remember, Octomom. Remember what I'm saying this now? That Octomom going to come, and we're going to start seeing women having, twins was coming normal. We're going to start seeing triplets, quadruplets, and centuplets. You're going to start seeing that like puppies. Huh? All right, remember you heard it here. Moving on, because I got to get out of here because I got to get back for the next show, right? It's already almost that time, so anyway. Let me look out, let's see what I got. Okay, so, well, we get to the grand finale. Grand finale, right? Let me look out here before I move on. It said, did you have all say, yep, Gaddafi had all women. Uh-oh, people of color talk. Thank you for all of the information, King. You're welcome, sir. Again, I try to provide the most latest relevant information that's out there. We don't get into all that other stuff. We take what is already pretty much just put out there. You understand? And you got to learn how to disseminate that for what part we need, like eating fish. You eat the good part of the fish, you spit the bone out. Now, some people say, well, look, that's all white folks. Yeah, but everything that's something in there got something to do with you. You got to extract that part out of there. So I appreciate you, too. Hopefully I get a subscribership from you, at least a like or something like that. So anyway, grand finale, y'all. This one going to end the show. Again, I told y'all, right, when you was looking at R. Kelly, right, had you looking at R. Kelly the whole time, right? This one here, it might be hard for me to get back on after this one, y'all. This one might do it. This the one that might be the end of the Mr. Blows Your Mind show. Because they shut the whole internet down the other day, but y'all didn't recognize that. But anyway, do what I do. So this is the behind the story. While you was looking left, this was what was going on to the right. I'm going to say it again. While you was looking left, this was what was going on to the right. Well, what you talking about, Mr. Blows Your Mind? Here we go. Here we go. All right. Let's get it.
Now to breaking news in that sex abuse scandal rocking the Catholic Church. The U.S. Justice Department has now opened an investigation in Pennsylvania. ABC's David Wright is here with the latest. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Michael. This is believed to be the first time that the federal government has launched a statewide investigation of sexual abuse in the church. Before, so far as we know, they've only looked at cases in individual communities. So this is a significant development.
The federal grand jury issued subpoenas this week to Roman Catholic leaders across Pennsylvania, seeking a trove of sensitive documents and testimony about past abuse cases. Federal prosecutors clearly following up on the work of the Pennsylvania grand jury, which this summer gave the first comprehensive view of abuses going back 70 years.
Priests were raping little boys and girls, and the men of God who were responsible for them not only did nothing, they hid it all for decades.
The statute of limitations had already expired on the vast majority of those cases. What's not yet clear is whether federal charges might apply. The Pennsylvania report is part of a worldwide reckoning over the church's past history of abuse and the massive cover-up that enabled it for years. Here in the U.S., Pennsylvania was the first to take on the issue statewide. Now, a number of other states are following suit. Already, the Pennsylvania report has had a major fallout within the church, prompting the resignation this month of one of America's most prominent Catholic leaders, Cardinal Donald Wuerl of Washington, D.C. U.S. bishops have also launched a nationwide investigation of their own, with the Pope's blessing, with a particular view to holding church leaders accountable for the cover-up.
The U.S. bishops actually wanted the Pope to go even further. They wanted what's called an apostolic visitation. That's kind of like the papal equivalent of a special council. But Pope Francis turned them down. So instead, the bishops are going to be investigating themselves. But you've got at least a dozen states looking into this now, plus this federal probe. This is a big deal.
And possibly more down the road.
Nobody's ever done a nationwide look at it, so that presumably would be what would follow.
All right, thank you so much, David.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.
Church in the U.S. acting as its own police to its clergy may finally be over. Over the past week, the Jesuit West Province has released updated lists of priests implicated or involved in sex abuse cases. Most of them served in Arizona, Alaska, California, Hawaii, Idaho, Montana, Nevada, Oregon, Utah, and Washington. Church leaders from coast to coast have also been releasing or are promising to release updated lists by early 2019. This includes the Archdiocese of Los Angeles, releasing the names of 54 priests, most of whom are dead or defrocked, and 30 new names who had not been publicly identified before. It's the first time the Archdiocese has updated its list of abusers since 2008. In what is titled as the Report to the People of God, Los Angeles Archbishop Jose H. Gomez assures transparency about the sexual abuse cases the Archdiocese faces. Gomez said, "The one you allege to have hurt you will be removed from ministry, while your allegations are fully investigated by law enforcement and by our oversight board." Advocates for abuse victims say that the release of the updated list is not enough, and that according to California state records, the California Catholic Conference spent more than $86,000 to fight a bill vetoed by Governor Jerry Brown in October that would have given survivors of childhood sexual assault more time to sue those who have failed to stop their abusers. But attorney Charisse Cleofe, whose firm led the litigation against Southern California Archdiocese in the mid-2000s and won a $1 billion settlement on behalf of the victim, says the fight is for justice, not money.
It's about acceptance of truth. It's about having what's happened to them be recognized and having the facts be brought out there.
Cleophas showed a wall of binders in their office containing hundreds of cases against Catholic clergy they have represented over the years. But she adds that fighting for victims of abuse should not be an issue of faith, but of justice.
For me, the teachings of the church is about good and bad, and justice is really about rooting out the bad.
We reached out to Filipino-American Catholic organizations here in Southern California, and although they requested not to speak on camera, they say they are offering prayers of healing and forgiveness for everyone involved. In Los Angeles, Albert Bataclan, ABS-CBN News.
Now I am free. Now I am happy. Now I am transparent. And I can say that now I feel that I'm good priest. I have nothing to hide.
So you say in your letter to the Pope that the clergy is full of homosexuals. Is that really the case?
I know many persons who work in Vatican and are gays. I know it. You must hate it. You must hide it. It's a problem of irrational, homophobic violence of the church. This is the problem of hypocrisy.
The Vatican would say that you broke your vow, and you, when you became a priest, took a vow of celibacy.
I say that I have not broke celibacy the greater part of my life. Our sacrifice of celibacy is sacrifice of marriage and family with women. I'm not created for marriage with women. I love women. My mother is the first woman in my life, but my nature for my relationship of love is nature of homosexual person.
Do you expect to get a reply to your letter from the Pope?
My hope was that the Pope can read my letter, and also understand my human drama in this institutional conflict, in this situation like the prison of my mind, of my heart, of my being priest, in this conflict interior and exterior, and my hope is that he can understand something and do something in the synod. Pope opened the new time in the church, but he have no collaborators. In the congregation, we are in the truly war against Pope Francis. So we are not only homophobic office, we are Francis-phobic. We have really phobia of Francis. And we are acting in all this time against popes.
Are you telling me that the Congregation of the Doctrine of the Faith is rebelling against the Pope?
Yes. Congregation was, for me, in this time, the agency of sabotage of pontificate of Pope Francis. This is sabotage of my boss, and this is my spiritual boss.
But the Vatican would say that you are the saboteur.
Oh, not. I don't do any sabotage. This synod was destroyed by another forces before.
All right. So, all right. It was a lot of there for you to take in. And somebody lost a subscriber doing that. Somebody got the hell up out of there. Fuck that. I ain't fucking with him, man. It's all good, man. It ain't made for everybody. It ain't supposed to be made for everybody. Right? So, that's the real behind. See, you understand how this work, right? Wheels and pulleys are made. Again, people know how to manipulate and control. Again, it's a, you know what I'm saying? It's a remote controlism. So we had this, if you go back about a day or two, boy, this whole corner was inundated with just R. Kelly, R. Kelly, R. Kelly, but I was the only one that looked right, the way everybody was looking left. Right? And there's some other things too, right? There was some other stuff, but that's the biggest one, right? And again, I understand as an institution and as big as it is, and again, it has a lot to do with people's belief, right? And, you know, that get tainted, then, you know, what end up happening is that whole institution to go belly up. So what they did is they had to then, it's kind of like watching John Wick or watching 300, you know, put the body in front and let the body, you know, take all the damn damage while you hide behind it, right? That's what's kind of happening here, right? They don't want this to be like the national news, right? They don't want that to be that because, again, just the long history and the countless of victims, right, will just make everybody really pretty much just kind of like, man, you know, again, I hear whether you believe or don't believe, that's incumbent on yourself. But, you know, as you heard in that interview, that was one of those priests who came out and said he was a homosexual, right? And he said that, you know, primarily he said, yes, most of in there are what he is. And matter of fact, they're against the Pope, right? I made a video some years back called Church versus Gay versus the Church, or Church, no, yeah, Gay versus the Church. Had a 3-part series. They didn't let that get out. No, yes, sir. That video, probably got them about, probably 10, 20, 30 views. And that was it was in some of my, you know, again, I done got videos, 250,000, 50, you know, all that. But they put a stop on it, right? And again, I'm going to say it once again. The church and the gays that's where the fight is at. Because either the gay saying that God didn't say what it said in the book, and the church is saying it did say. But then it kind of contradicts when you say that most of the people who are supposed to be the one who upholding it, you know, it's one thing to have your lifestyle or how you living, but then when it starts to, you know, spill and go into other areas of, you know, children. And again, there's a priest named, I think his name is Walter Bradmuller. And he talks about the statistical proving that clerical sex abuse is linked to homosexuality. Right? He said there's statistical data to prove that. And I've also said to the fact that that's kind of like in the family, right? How do we say that? Let's say if you look at pedophilia, right, which again we look at as something, again, kind of going back to the R. Kelly situation that people look at it as Chester the molester, right? We're looking at that and saying that, you know, grown man shouldn't be messing with a kid, right? And that's would still be heterosexual, but again, the act in itself is wrong. So when you see it in the other form, when it's the same sex, and then if we're saying that people who are the same sex are classifying themselves as LGBT in this group and this about love and so forth. But then when you have this aspect, is this not in the family? What part of this is not part of that same family, right? And so that, again, because nobody wants to equate the fact of homosexuality and pedophilia is in the same, right? They don't want that. And we get that. Now, are we saying that everyone under that? No, you know, I can't read for nobody's mind. But to have the institution that's supposed to represent what we've been taught to believe or understand what God is, and then those who adhere to that and know what those scriptures say, and then to see this in there again. I know a lot of people from different denominations, whether it be Hebrew Israelites, Islam. Of course, you say that's Christianity nonsense. I get it. I'm not pro nor again. I'm just speaking on this, right? And so that's a stain. You know, it's a nasty stain. That's that booty in the air scent stain, right? And so it's, again, as talking about the stink has risen to the nostrils of the Creator. But things got to change. Matter of fact, we only like about what we at today, the 10th. We about 2 weeks, two weeks, about 16 days from the new sign that's supposed to come. That new moon that's supposed to be representing a sign, huh? An omen to somebody. It's a sign of the times, right? So it's just, again, I have that article, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do that one. Because it was something else I'm supposed to show. So if you catch tonight's show, hopefully I can get back, y'all. I hope I can get back and do this tonight's show. So, again, that's what it is. That's what was the hidden. It was that. And you ain't going to really still be heard because I'm over in the corner, and I'm pretty sure into it, everybody's still going to be R. Kelly. You ain't look at this here. It's the France Lions. If you do the research, you'll see it. And it's a big case, to the fact that, again, they shut down the YouTube yesterday. Had a lot to do with it because a lot of people that probably was in those, let's say, from Europe and France and all that, they probably were doing a lot of YouTube and a lot of stuff that came out that, again, some of the stuff you probably can't catch or read. And again, I got a lot of articles on some of this stuff, but again, you know, I'm just bringing what I can. So, again, that's going to be my show for today. I want to thank everybody who came out today. Let me look out in all this one more time. Thank everybody who came in again. Let me hold something, get a like, dislike, whatever it is. Let me hold something, trying to get my show back out there again. Let's see, we're talking about the pullout game is weak. We got to bring probably ourselves. Pullout game getting weak. Shalom from NC. What's good, Alfreda Israel? Yeah, that was... I'm pretty sure you know, definitely, when it comes to about that Catholic Church. I'm pretty sure you definitely know, right? So I appreciate you brothers for being up in here, sisters that's in here as well. You know, I'm not sure who in there. Somebody decided to unsubscribe me, so I seen my number went down. Like, damn, it's like that. It's all good, man. You know, truth gonna rub some people in the wrong way. It ain't made for everybody. Nobody don't like when the truth hit your ass. Don't like shit, but the blow might have a problem too. That's why you try to keep yourself from out of shit, so that way you ain't getting it, right? But you know, it's part of the nature of us being humans and how we living, and again, living in the oppressive state that we always in. So we incumbent to always do some fuck shit because, again, you know, we trying to survive, right? Try to make it one day at a time, one second at a time. So again, as a part of the DOS, right, descendants of slaves of the nation, Israel, I know what you're talking about too as well, Hebrew brother. But I'm just saying, as a descendant of slave in this nation, we, again, as John Henry Clark said, this is all we got. We the only fan we got in here. Everybody else that come here out got an agenda. Now, again, if you just happen to be, again, maybe not DOS, that don't mean me just kind of isolating saying you ain't in the family. I'm just saying we here got a specific, right, ordeal historically and how we've been disenfranchised and everything else. And we have not gotten anything from the fruits of the labors of our ancestors. But everybody else can come from everywhere else and kind of got a dual citizenship. And yet the people who gave so much allow other people to be opulent and to actually escape from wherever they come from, but then come here and look at us like we ain't shit, talk about us like we ain't shit, and ready to roll on us when, you know what I'm saying, when it's possible. But again, better remember this shit. Without us, you ain't got shit. You got nowhere to run and you can't be opulent. Matter of fact, it ain't just here that we gave all those nations that colonized you wherever you came from. It was because of our ancestors here that put that money to build them empires that they got. So keep that shit in mind. Again, stay black, love, peace, and love, and hair grease and all that. To my next show, y'all, keep it 100 as always. So I'm going to go ahead and write it out with this little music. I'm not going to do the whole intro. I got to get out of here, get something to eat, and then work on the next show. So until then, y'all, with love, man.